happening here. We have a lot of wind that's moving into the River Valley area with the possibility of wind damage spreading from southwest to northeast. As of right now, we don't have any pockets of rotation. So far, that's a good thing. We have had tornado warnings earlier near McAllister, and it was actually from this cluster of storms. But right now, the wind damage risk seems to be the biggest threat here. So I'm going to go back over to velocity. There's going to be a lot of lightning data that pops up on here, and it's a little bit difficult to see. But what I want you to see is the three different areas. You've got 1, 2, 3, all merging together, and that dark green area is a large surge of wind that's tracking northeast in this direction. So this is going to be coming right towards Fort Smith, Spiro. This wind surge actually may pass just to the north of Poto. I know it's storming right now pretty good in Poto, but that surge of wind is going to be moving more towards the north and towards the northeast. It's moving at a pretty good clip too. Looks like it's going about, let's see, this thing's moving northeast about 45 miles an hour. So there's a lot of forward momentum on this storm. That storm's going to be tracking through, that cluster will be moving through Fort Smith and Van Buren. We've also got storms in Sequoia County. They don't look quite as strong, at least as far as the wind goes. But this is nasty here. This is a large area of wind damage potential here, stretching from Spiro east. So this is just south of Salsa, right over Wild Horse Mountain, coming down 59 out towards Callington and Highway 9. This whole area here is where we're looking at that wind damage potential coming into Spiro here shortly, and then eventually getting into Fort Smith. This is along Tucker Road, Highline Road. There's Stony Point. Stony Point's getting it now, and eventually we'll start seeing this move into Pocola and then parts of the southern portions of the Fort Smith area. Backing out a little bit more here, here's Fort Coffee. You can see the winds that'll be traveling from west to east. I'll put this back in motion for you and show you what's going on. You can see the movement here from southwest, or from west to east. You can also see how this is starting to pull and starting to bow out a little bit more. That bow shape is also an indication to us too that we're going to be looking at a wind surge here. And winds down to the surface have been gusting well over well, in some cases, close to 80 miles an hour. That was an estimated gust near McAllister. The recorded gust was actually 71 miles an hour, and that's going to be with these darker green colors here that I'm seeing out towards Callington. But look at the direction of it. If you just track it to the north, northeast, you can get a feel for where this apex is going. The Weather Service did a really good job here of highlighting where the apex is of the wind. That's where we're talking about that big surge of wind goes. So that surge of wind is going to be moving north of Pocola up to 71 and then into the Fort Smith area. It is possible we could get some spin-up pockets of rotation or tornadoes on the leading edge. The overall surface spin isn't quite as high as it sometimes is when we get the spin-up tornadoes, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. So we're watching a couple little indentions here as this moves through. So let's go back over to the reflectivity or looking at the radar here and just showing you what's happening elsewhere across the area. Want to get into the River Valley, and then I'm going to take you to northwest Arkansas and show you why the flash flooding threat could be a problem for us too. So here are the storms. We already have storms in the greater Fort Smith area, and we'll check out some cams here shortly. But the stuff that you're hearing now between Alma and Van Buren and Van Alma and out over Arcoma, that stuff is not the severe storms. The severe stuff is just to your west. Our friends here in Roland have storms over them, same with Muldrow. The big stuff starts just south of Callington, and those winds are going to be the ones that start moving through. So it's the area back to the west-southwest where that wind is starting to really pick up a little bit more right through here. And one of the things we were looking for earlier was a drop-off in reflectivity. See how it goes from red to yellow and then red to yellow here. That's often an indication too that we're looking at some kind of jet coming in the backside. What it ends up doing is it comes in the back of the storm and then dips down and hits down towards the surface. So I think that's what's happening here out towards Callington. We sometimes call these a rear inflow jet. We've been looking for it for a while, and I'm finally starting to see one on radar here between Keota and McCurtain where it starts to fall off. And out ahead of that is where we're going to get that surge of wind. I'll tell you, in Poto right now we have possibly some 1-inch hail hitting the ground. So that's about quarter size from the storm that's moving through. Jump forward here a frame. Here's an animated loop of this, and you can see how this is all moving towards the east-northeast. Now, another problem we're going to have out of this tonight is going to be the rainfall in northwest Arkansas, because you've got Bentonville, Fayetteville, this whole area. This was soaked earlier. Last Wednesday, we had like 6 inches of rain. So I do think we're going to get flash flood warnings here. We'll get flash flood warnings for Benton County. We're probably going to get them for Washington too. And what kind of sucks about the whole thing is not only do you have this rain, but if you look back out to the west, you have all this stuff too. So you're going to get hit with probably 2 rounds of rainfall. That's going to push 2 inches. So I think that 1 to 2 is going to be the average, but in some places where we get that training, we're going to have over 2 inches. Another place over 2 inches, unfortunately, yeah, it's going to be Crawford County. So we're probably going to have another flash flood warning here. We know that because out around McAllister, we do have flash flood warnings, and they have more rain that's moving in. By the way, the red box here is a tornado warning. That's south of McAllister right there, and that's going to be moving to the northeast. So we have this first wave that's moving through, and then we'll have an additional one that comes through too. Storm Prediction Center went ahead and issued a severe thunderstorm watch. It goes till 4 in the morning, and before we flip out, it's not going to be going on till 4 in the morning. Those storms are going to be into central Arkansas by then. They basically lit the whole state up for a severe thunderstorm watch. So the watch is going to ride for a while, but the storms are going to be long gone out of our area, probably by 2, hopefully a little bit sooner. I'm seeing that gust of wind now moving through Spiro. Spiro's on the leading edge of this thing. In fact, we'll catch this live here. Let's let it scan a couple times, and then Michelle and I will pull up the Pocola camera and get that thing going out west, because it's going to give us a heck of a wind show as this thing comes in. And I really think, let me look at, let's go back to velocity. You guys can do it with me here. Let's see what this thing looks like. Here are the winds coming through. Tons of lightning. Notice the lightning cluster too is a lot greater in the River Valley than it is in northwest Arkansas. You're going to hear a couple of crack booms in northwest Arkansas, but the real risk of wind and tornadoes and a lot of cloud to ground lightning is here in the River Valley. All right, so we're already on Zoom, so let's get in on this thing. There's that surge of wind moving east. This is what we've been worried about this evening. See it moving towards Fort Smith and Pocola. This thing is racing eastward. This is the kind of wind too where you got to stay away from windows. The ground's already saturated. We've had let's see here. We've had it's a sponge, right? You've had tons of rainfall already. It's not going to take much to pull these trees out of the ground. I guess that's what I'm trying to get to. A big surge of wind like this definitely is going to uproot trees. And a lot of times you get those uprooted trees. If you have a big tree next to your house, get away from the windows. That tree could fall in the house and cause all kinds of problems, right? So be very mindful of that this is, the ground has already had a lot of rainfall, probably can't hold much more. We're probably going to get flash flood warnings. And then you've got a big surge of wind that's just plowing towards us right now. This stuff's getting into Pocola. Time now is coming up on about 9:30 or so from Pocola out towards Fort Smith. And if we start getting some measured gusts here that are a little stronger, we may jump on the television as well to see how this is going. You guys are watching us here on digital, either on the 5 News app or on Facebook or on YouTube with that line that's moving through. Let's see here. Just checking to see what else is going on. National Weather Service is also watching the same thing we are here, looking at that gust of wind making its way into parts of northern Lafleur County and southern Sequoia County. I'm looking for rotation on this. I don't see any. Anything pop out at you, Michelle, on this?
No, not really. Just the strong winds moving into Fort Smith.
Yeah, I see those winds in Fort Smith. There may be, I'm also looking to the north. There's not much that's there, but farther to the north, we've got a little bit that's starting to move in too. That could give us, let me jump back out here. There's a wider view. You can see the lightning here. We've got the camera here trained on the on Garrison Avenue looking towards the southeast. I'm going to see if I can get this, and in the control room, you can go ahead and leave that up. I think I can access my hand tracking behind it here just to show some folks what I'm looking at here. So I'm looking right in here. There's a little bit of weak rotation here that I'm watching. There's no warning here, but right in here is the bears watching around Westville, right here. Something's trying to get together there. Hopefully it's just a little bit of gusty winds, but we'll have to keep an eye on that thing too with the stuff that's moving through. So going back over to Storm Tracker here in the River Valley, there's your line of storms that's moving in. Again, that's traveling west to east. That's going to be moving into Poto and Fort Smith. The wind here in Fort Smith on Garrison Avenue, you can see the flags not moving all that much right now, but I'm telling you, these winds are really booking it just out to the west. I'll show you what it looks like here if we put this in motion as it continues to surge east into Fort Smith and get it right across the Arkansas-Oklahoma state line here shortly. Looks like there might be, watching that little area too in Sequoia County. Let's go back over to velocity, see what this thing looks like. Boy, lots of bright green colors here. Remember, green is moving towards the radar, red is moving away. So that tells us we have a big surge of wind that's headed towards the Fort Smith area and is going to pack quite a punch here as it comes comes into town from west to east. Looks like it's up towards Spiro, just southeast of Sallisaw, and should be moving closer to the Fort Smith area here shortly. Let me look here on the north side of the line. Look off camera here and see what's going on with this. I don't see anything that's spinning right now. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But boy, that wind surge is going to be pretty big here coming into the area here shortly. Sometimes you can get these little eddies that pop up on the leading edge of the storm too. So there's going to be something to watch there. Let me look at another tilt. Well, there's a lot of wind in this thing. Again, uprooted trees are going to be possible with this, and potentially looking at some storms that are great in the Fort Smith area that are going to be having quite a bit in the way of wind damage with that line that's moving through. Hey, Michelle, I'll let you, I'll pull up analyst on this, and then you can talk about what you're seeing on this camera as well, and then maybe we can jump over here in a bit to some of the other different cameras. So I have analyst pulled up for you now.
Okay, so what we're seeing right now is just this line of storms moving into Crawford and Sebastian County. The winds right here are about 70 miles per hour, moving straight towards Fort Smith. So it's about to hit your area if you are in Fort Smith, but behind it though, again, winds right there are still around 70 miles per hour. And I did see a little bit of hail in this storm as well. So quarter-size hail is definitely possible as this moves in Fort Smith. But basically right now for Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley, this is the only severe thunderstorm watch that we're looking at, but this is the velocity. You can see the strong winds just moving into downtown Fort Smith, and this is looking at the reflectivity. And the red is actually some heavy rainfall that's moving through as well. Looking at Northwest Arkansas, you're not seeing too much severe right now. The red is the pockets of some moderate to heavy rainfall, but again, nothing severe, but we could see, a little bit of pea-sized hail with some storms that do develop, or even some 45 mile per hour winds. And it's getting pretty loud and noisy here in Johnson. We're already hearing the lightning and thunder outside. So it is going to get rowdy for the next few hours. And all this is going to go on until about 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the morning. That's when our severe thunderstorm watch does expire. But the main storm we are watching right now is moving towards Fort Smith and also into Sebastian County and just to Pocola as well. Looking behind it, though, we have this, like Garrett was saying, we have this flash flood watch that we have in McAllister. And this is a flash flood warning, actually, and this goes until 10:45. And they saw a good amount of rain and a lot of hail move through McAllister. And also, they did have a tornado-warned storm in McAllister, but it did expire. But that's the same storm that we're moving right now into Fort Smith. And the National Weather Service right now is saying that the environment that we have over Northwest Arkansas and the River Valley is very supportive of damaging winds. So definitely need to keep an eye on that because they're saying winds can get up to 80 miles per hour, and that's definitely not out of the question. And some gusts could reach up to 70 miles per hour for the next few hours. There is actually, just right now, the National Weather Service has issued a flash flood warning for Leflore County, and that's because we are seeing rain totals anywhere between 1 to 2 inches in a matter of a few hours. And actually it says 1.5 to 2 inches of rain have already fallen. So flash flooding is definitely ongoing right now in Leflore County. So if you are there, please keep an eye on the radar because you are seeing severe storms and also some flash flooding.
Okay, so we're prepping to go on TV here shortly. So let's see here.
I can keep going real quick before you're getting ready.
Yeah, that works. See if you can check on rotation on the north side of that line on coming into Fort Smith.
Okay.
See if there's anything on velocity. It looks like I'm getting there's a small return there. Okay, hang on one sec in the control room. Let's see. Okay, hang on one sec, Debbie.
It looks like it's just some very strong winds right now.
Okay.
I see a little bit rotation, but just not much to where I don't think it's a concern right now.
Okay. All right, let me get this set up here. Hang on with us online, guys. Let's get this going because it.
While you're doing that, we'll go ahead and show some other things.
Actually, I think Debbie's ready.
Okay.
You got the warning there, so if you can take me back, see if you can get me back on hand tracking on max 1.
Okay.
And then I can do that real quick. And the weather open's going to run as well.
Awesome. Here you go.
Okay. Stand by, folks. It's coming. We're tracking severe. It's a red alert day at 5 News. We're tracking severe thunderstorms. We're very concerned with winds gusting 70 or 80 miles per hour coming into the Fort Smith area right now. So this is the setup. This is the radar. No warnings right now for northwest Arkansas. Heads up, though, in Benton, Washington County, flash flooding could become an issue in about the next 2 hours or so. What I'm most concerned with is the wind damage potential that's coming into Fort Smith. We're seeing some signatures on the wind speeds here that may be upwards of about 70, possibly even 80 miles an hour in some spots. This will cause wind damage across the greater Fort Smith area as it moves through. Time now is 9:35. You can see just west of Fort Smith we have these storms that are starting to affect our area. Here in a second we're going to look at some of our iCams and get a feel for exactly what's happening down at ground level. But I want to show you what it looks like here as far as the wind speeds go. The bright green you're seeing, that bright green towards the very tail end, that's the apex or the very edge of that bow echo, and this is where those winds are really surging out, and that's where the wind damage is going to occur. It's going to be right in this area. So if we stop the velocity signatures here, you can see right here is where the wind damage risk is highest now. But just downstream from that, Fort Smith is in line for this. So we're going to get this in Fort Smith. This is probably going to go north of Greenwood as far as the worst wind damage goes. I'm seeing wind damage here from Roland back down to the south. There's even little teeny eddies here. There's one right there just south of Roland. No tornado warnings with this, but I wouldn't discount a quick spin up with some of these winds. They're very, very intense and strong on the leading edge of this thing as it moves through. So these little teeny eddies need to be watched and monitored closely. The damaging wind looks as if it's surging right now on Highway 9, but you really get into it out of Fort Coffee. And again, the path of this pretty much takes us right through the Fort Smith metro with winds gusting close to 70 or 80 miles per hour. So the ground, it's soaked. We've had way too much rainfall lately. And the problem with that is you get a good gust of wind, not even a good gust of wind, 40 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour. That's going to push a tree right out of the ground and rip those roots right out. A 70 mile or 80 mile per hour gust will easily do that. So we're watching this close, and as it starts to move into the river valley, I suspect we'll probably lose power in some spots too as it starts to move in. You're looking live as well in the Fort Smith area. This is our area agency iCam. The direction on this is going to be east southeast, so we're looking towards the south part of town, and occasionally we'll get some flashes. Hey, in the control room, Debbie, I don't know if you can pull up the Pocola camera in that thing, but if you can, we should start seeing some of that wind. There it is. So this is Pocola looking west, so the wind should be hitting this iCam right now, and we should be able to see some of the winds as it happens live. This is from the Choctaw Casino looking westward. You can see it start rocking. You can also see all the lightning strikes that are out there. I'll show you what this looks like on the reflectivity as it starts to move through Pocola here. You can leave the iCam up and I'll stop this, but you can see where Pocola is and then what we're going to be looking at here shortly in the Pocola area. There's Roland, here's Fort Smith, so we're looking just south of town here. Those winds out towards Pocola are going to be right here. So the strongest winds are actually just to the west of where this iCam is located. But as this thing starts to move into Fort Smith, I suspect we're going to get power outages here, and that camera is really going to go wild.
Hey,
tornado warning, that's going to be on that edge that we just saw, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a tornado warning for Crawford, Franklin, and Sebastian, and Sequoia.
Okay, so here's what we're doing with this, guys. This is exactly why you got to be so careful with these leading edge bows. Remember just a second ago how we were talking about that little swirl right here? That's it. That's a tornado that's trying to develop here. I'm going to show you what it looks like on velocity. Right there, look at it. I mean, we caught it here about 5 minutes ago. You saw that little red and green right next to each other, and sure enough, this thing intensified. And now we've got a tornado warning. This is Old Highway 64. Here's Rayfine Boulevard. Guys, this is coming right south of Roland. If you're in Roland, you need to move to your safe place. Get away from windows. Get in the interior closet or the hallway. This thing could put down a tornado at any time here. The winds are surging, so you've got two threats. You have high wind damage potential in Fort Smith. You also have a potential tornado that's coming into Moffett and Roland. I think on its current track, and I'm going to loop this for you real quick and see if we can see what's going on. Boy, that thing's moving quick. This thing's moving right towards Moffett to the north and to the northeast. Wish we had that area agency cam flip back around because we might actually be able to see this as it moves on through. Let's see if we can zoom out a little bit. Yeah, if you can, in the control room, see if you can get the area agency cam pointed back towards the Garrison Avenue Bridge. It'll be out towards the rack room. We should be able to move that to the north. Appreciate that. Okay, So the wind damage risk is there, but also the tornado risk. Again, it's a fast-moving storm here. Let's see what they've got on this tornado warning, showing movement northeast at about 45 miles an hour. So it's going to move really quick as it comes in. In fact, I think it's going to be moving towards the Welcome Center here in Van Buren here shortly. I also see another tornado pocket that's trying to develop right here north of Muldrow. There's no warning on this guy yet, but this one is warned. So that's going to be moving towards Van Buren, west side of Van Buren, north side of Fort Smith. Fort Smith, you're under a tornado warning right now. And regardless if that rotation is going to move over you or not, you got to get inside and get away from windows with this. The wind damage alone is going to rival that of a small tornado. We're talking the tornado spin right here. Again, that's going to be located right in this area. Right here's one pocket. There's another pocket trying to develop right in here. Let me clear that out there. I think I made that last one a little bit too big for you. But there's another pocket of rotation right there. So we have two little guys right here, both tracking east-northeast. So I do think North Fort Smith is in the path of this. Downtown Fort Smith is more in the path of the damaging wind. Same with Arcoma, same with South Fort Smith, same with Pocola. All this area is going to be under the risk of seeing that. Look at that. Look how fast it moved. Okay, next scan, it went from here to here, here to here. This needs to be under a tornado warning. There's not one yet, but this is a developing tornado too here between Muldrow and between Dora. So let me show you what's going on here as we look a little closer. And then here in a second, Michelle, I'm going to go. Actually, let me try it with this first. These scans are coming in awfully quick because this thing's moving. Oh, that might be on the ground right there. Looks like we've got a little bit of that could be debris in this area. It's a little bit cluttered to know, but it looks as if it's located. Yeah, that's real close. Here's another loop of it. Look how it's tracking northeast. Guys, Van Buren's next. If you're in Van Buren, get away from the windows and take your tornado safety precautions on Highway 59. This is headed towards Arena Road. This is headed towards the Walmart in Van Buren, just north of Arena Road, out towards Aldi. This is moving just north of 540. It's going to go just to it's going to be real close to the high school, but it's probably going to go north of the high school, Crawford County Speedway, Uniontown. This whole area of central and west Van Buren will have this developing tornado moving through. Meantime, we have damaging winds just surging over Arcoma and Fort Smith now, probably on the order of about 80 miles an hour or greater as it moves on through. I'm going to stop this again. I'm going to check for tornado debris one more time here. It's a little noisy there. And by noisy, I mean it's hard to tell and discern if it's a true circle or not that moved through. I'm going to loop this, and I know this is going to look like your static TV just lost its signal. Let's see here. There's a new scan coming in. I may let this come back around here and see. This is the area that I'm watching here because that is lined up with where that rotation was located. While we're waiting on that to move on through, let's go back to where the wind speeds are located on this and stop the radar. Still have strong rotation here. I'm still seeing strong rotation over Roland too. Again, this is not for the original warning, but this area could develop really quick. This is the north side of Roland here. So here's South Roland Road. Here's Rayfine Boulevard. This is right before you go up the hill. So the high school is going to be here. This is just on the east side of the high school, right towards where that new way station was built here about 3-4 years ago. That's going to be out headed towards Dora too. We've also got that area that we're watching. Let me move it back over here, out over to Highway 64. New scan just came through. This has got it over North Albert Pike now. Here's Grand Avenue, UA Fort Smith. So we're just on the north side of Fort Smith. I think that swirl goes north of UA Fort Smith. If you live on the north side of Fort Smith, though, out towards Riggs Drive, so you've got all the plants in this area. This is Industrial Park in Van Buren. Here's the Arkansas River Bridge. Lighthouse would be here, which flooded a couple years ago. You have that developing rotation here headed towards historic downtown Van Buren, out towards where the old train station's located. And keep in mind, this thing is hauling. This is going fast. So it's not going to be something that's going to, oh, there's a tornado. Let's get out of the way. This thing's going to move through really quick. In fact, you can see between scans just how fast this is evolving. I mean, a couple minutes ago, this thing was clear out in central Sequoia County, and now it's moving right into Crawford County. So it's got some great speed. Go ahead, Michelle. Okay, they're seeing debris too. So this is on the ground, and that's exactly what I saw here a second ago. I'm going to go back to it. It's right here, and it looks like with the second one you're seeing debris? They're saying they're seeing two. Yeah, this one's on the ground too. We've got two. This one's in North Roland on the ground. This one touched down earlier in Dora. It's hard to know if they're both still on the ground, but there's definitely debris in both of these storms here. Back to reflectivity shortly here to give you a look at what's going on. Oh, it's observed. So they're seeing a tornado. Okay, so this has been spotted. Looks like they're updating that tornado warning polygon now with that. Off camera, I'm actually seeing two tornadoes now. The one that moved through Roland, I'm showing it now, about to cross the state line. Guys, this is on the interstate here. If you're driving east towards Fort Smith from Roland, you look out the left side of the window, you're probably going to see a tornado on this thing. It's right in here. Now, this reflectivity is just too messy for me. We all know it's raining. We all know the red means angry storms. So let's stop this, go back to velocity, and get a wider view of what's going on, and then look at this a little bit more in depth. So let's find out exactly where the tornado is located. And let's look for that debris one more time. So we're zooming in a little bit more. We have two tornadoes, one observed, both have debris balls. This is bad here. Look at the darker reds in Van Buren. Okay, let's see here. This is going to cause damage in Van Buren, right here along Lee Creek Access Road. Here's North Hills. Unfortunately, this is looking like it's coming over essentially the west side of Van Buren. This is where the 96 tornado moved through. If you were in that area back then, you know exactly where I'm talking about here. There's the camera moving. So at the very top of the screen here is going to be Vista Hills. That's where this thing's going. You can see the wind. Look at the sheets of rain just coming down Garrison Avenue. We've got a full-blown wind event going on in Fort Smith, but we have a tornado here that has been observed with debris on radar coming into Van Buren on Highway 59. We've had two of them. Here's Pointer Trail here. You've got the high school is going to be right here. This is headed towards the high school. The second rotation pocket is going to go north of the high school up towards 59. You got to take your tornado precautions here in Van Buren up towards the northeast. If you live out towards Oliver Springs Road, out towards Heritage Church, this area is going to be moving northeast. You guys should be in your safe spot now. You can see the vivid lightning that's on here. It's nearly nonstop here with those with the lights, with the lightning, and it looks like there may even be some power flashes trying to show up on radar too. Whenever you start seeing the blue colors on radar that are on iCams, that indicates to us that we're looking at potentially power lines going down. I paused for a second here. You can see this line that's through here. I was looking to see if there were two pockets of rotation. There appears to be one, but the radar may have skipped just right through there. The one that's bad is the one in Van Buren. Of course, there are tornado warnings. All of them are bad, right? But the strongest one is the one that's right over Van Buren. I'm going to check for tornado debris one more time here. Still seeing the possibility of debris here, and still seeing debris on the storm that's right over the state line. So we have two tornadoes here that have either touched down and picked the debris up in the air, or two tornadoes that are still on the ground here in the River Valley in Van Buren. We've got two tornado debris signatures, TDSs is what we call them, and we have two of them, one on the state line and then one in Van Buren. Going back over here to reflectivity, this shows us the winds, and this gives us the best idea of where this is and where it's going. Let me zoom in a little bit more.
So, Garrett,
yeah,
they're saying a confirmed tornado was located 4 miles southwest of Figure
5?
Yes, sorry, I couldn't say that. But moving to the northeast at 45 miles per hour. So
okay.
It's confirmed.
Okay, so this is, they're saying confirmed tornado from the National Weather Service. That means they're confirming it based on the storm spotter seeing it and the tornado debris signature. Of course, we all know the Weather Service is going to come out a little bit later and do their damage assessment, find out the intensity, and do another confirmation. It's kind of weird how they do this now with these TDSs, the tornado debris signatures. But I'm seeing this come right down here through Pointer Trail and then up 282 and Highway 60. So the next scan should give us an idea of where this is. Guys, this is causing damage probably right now on Pointer Trail on North 24th Street. Here's Lisa Lane, North 28th, Alma Boulevard. This is moving northeast up towards 282, perhaps even a little bit more east of northeast, which would put this right down 64 and eventually moving towards I-40. I'm going to step off camera for just one moment here and go through some of these tornado precautions real quickly here for those of you who are may not know what to do, or maybe this is your first time in the area. If you are in a tornado warning, you want to move to the centermost part of your hallway. You want to move away from windows. The centermost area is going to put you away from windows on the lowest level of your home. So if you live in an apartment building, you'll want to get to the lowest floor. And this is mostly for those of you who are out ahead of this thing. If you're in the middle of it, it's not a good idea to do it now. Again, middle part of the home, you're looking at the bathroom there that's in green. Hallway, middle closet, away from windows until it moves through. Remember, it's not the tornado that's going to cause you the problems. It's the stuff that's flying in the tornado. It's the glass, the bricks, the twigs. All that stuff is what's going to give us some issues. So back to the radar now. This is the area we're watching. By the way, I know it's storming in Fayetteville, and I know we have storms in Siloam Springs too, but it's the one that's located here in Van Buren, the two that are in Van Buren, that are really the ones to watch. This is a closer look at it. Again, reflectivity shows us the wind speeds coming through Fort Smith. We've been focusing a lot on the tornado because that's where the strongest winds are, but I don't want to also discount this yellow box here. We have strong winds punching out of this thing. So not only do we have the tornado threat, but we have a very high-end damaging wind event that's coming into Fort Smith. Look at this line moving right over the Fort Smith airport. Go.
Per hour winds in Van Buren right
90
now.
mile per hour winds in Van Buren. So we're looking at winds at 90 miles an hour with this. This is going to cause roof damage. This is going to cause some pretty high impacts here from Van Buren northeast. Man. Okay, so this is up towards Arcola Road. Here's Woodpecker Drive. This is going to be Column Lane out towards Alma. We'll zoom in a little bit more on this. You can see where this tornado is headed. Here's Lost Beach Road here. This is moving up towards Maywood Circle. Arcola is right through here. Van Alma Tire is going to be right about here. Here's Old Concord Way. This is moving right down 64, perhaps just a little bit north of 64, closer to where Frog Bayou is. Why do I know all this? Because I grew up right in this area here. I know exactly where this is. This is going to be headed northeastward up towards Alma and the interchange here that goes from I-40 to 49 northbound and also 71. Alma, take your tornado precautions now. In central Crawford County, these wind speeds mean business, probably close to about 90 miles per hour or greater. And of course, we have that tornado risk as well within this storm. Also keep in mind that even if we don't get the tornado that moves through, we're still into a damaging wind event that's going to be like an EF0 or EF1 tornado. So you're looking at some very strong wind speeds that will rival that of a tornado as it moves on through. So here's a loop at how this is played out here. Go ahead. Michelle?
Oh, they also issued a severe thunderstorm warning for that same tornado warning system that's moving through Crawford, Franklin, Madison, Sebastian, and also now includes Washington.
Okay, so new severe thunderstorm warnings on that. This looks as if it has taken on more of a bow instead of a rotation couplet. We still have the tornado warning on this storm. This is north of I-40. These pixels, goodness, when you look at these darker blues here, and these bright whites, these wind speeds are probably probably closer to 90 miles per hour along Lost Beach Road and Pleasant Valley Road. Guys, this is enough to roll mobile homes as well. So you'll want to move to a more substantial shelter if you do not feel safe in your home. These wind speeds are enough to move those mobile homes or roll them. Also, anything that's not a really good brick structure will have the possibility of being toppled in some of this stuff as these wind speeds move on through. These are very high wind gusts here that are moving along 64. There's the new scan taking this thing right up through Alma now. Here's a wider view of it. Now it's moved out a little wider, but you still have those winds gusting now out towards Alma. This is north of Alma. This is up towards A to Z. Here's Rudy and 282 running south. This whole area is surging with wind. We've had winds that move through the Fort Smith area as well, but this is the area that's under that tornado warning as it continues to track again southwest to northeast. I know I've been talking about this one a long time because this is the strongest winds. But if I put this in motion for you here, you can see those wind speeds extend back to the south out towards Greenwood in southern Sebastian County. You've got strong.
Garrett,
yeah, go ahead.
Can I show you this Van Buren RDOT camera we have?
Absolutely, go for it.
So much lightning on it right now, and it's actually facing the highway.
We're going to have to do that through, I think, Cam 2 on Max 1 with the different router source, I think, and that should give us an idea.
Oh, yeah, here's it.
There you go.
This is the RDOT camera for Van Buren.
Okay, so this is where it moved through earlier. It's just tough to see anything at night with this.
And those are cars pulled over on the highway.
Yeah, it looks like I'm looking, those power lines maybe right in front of the screen there. Can't tell what that is right here. But yeah, these cameras at night are just tough to make out heads and tails out of anything there. You can kind of see it between the lightning flashes of what's going on. Looks like it's buffering there.
And it is facing east, so it'd be facing
So it'd be facing right where it's going, yeah.
It's right there at 540,
right as you cross over the border.
49, yeah.
What you might do too, go ahead and,
It might have Might have froze.
Yeah, I did. I think it froze up there. It may have taken a power hit. It's just tough to see anything at night when this stuff's moving on through. No, there it goes back up again, and it's just nonstop lightning out of this thing. It's too bad it's not daytime. We'd be able to see if there's any debris or anything like that that's on the road surface.
Let me go back to the.
I'm backing out of this, guys. I'm showing that wind surge that's moving through Alma now. It's moving close to Dyer. Dyer's next for this wind. Let's see here. Also checking, I'm looking down to the south. I'm just looking for other pockets of rotation. I don't see anything else. I see gusty winds stretching from Hartford up through Greenwood. We had a pretty good gust of wind that came through Greenwood. Boy, the bow, though, that's coming through Van Buren, that came through Van Buren, that's right now out over Alma, is really still going strong here out towards Dyer. I'm not seeing as much of a tornado signature on this anymore as I am damaging winds. It looks like the initial spin is what pushed this out of the storm, and that's still coming down 64. It's really coming into Alma now really hard here between Alma and Dyer. We'll go back to velocity images here. This is the wind speed, remember, that tells us what's going on. And then we're going to look at this a little bit closer. So here's a closer look at it. You can see these winds moving towards the northeast, out towards Dean Springs now. Strongest pocket of winds moving north. The reason they're probably keeping this tornado warning on this is because the north side of this can sometimes bend back and forth, and if that happens, you could get another quick tornado out of this thing. Even though it looks like it right now, it's wind dominant. The northern side, we call these bookends, and get bookend vortices here that form on the north side of the surge of wind. So this is the area I'm most concerned with here. It's still Alma. It's moving to the north. It's going to be right over. Let's see, let's zoom in. I'll show you exactly where it's located here. Here's Dean Springs. So if you got off in Rudy at the truck stop and you took 282, out past Brammer's Barn and headed over to the stop sign here, or not the flashing lights anymore, it's got a stop sign. It's just south of that. So it's south of the stop sign near Rudy, all the way down to Alma, where you can get on the interstate. So that's where the damaging wind is going. And this is enough to blow shingles off of homes. This is enough to flip over mobile homes and even RV trailers. It's a fairly strong storm continuing to move northeast. Just a real gut punch of wind here that's making its way into central Crawford County. This is the problem area that we're watching. It looks like the surge of wind continues through Dean Springs. It's let up in Van Buren now. We got lightning strikes all over the place. But yeah, go ahead.
Right now on the RDOT camera,
go ahead.
A truck has been blown over on its side on I-40 eastbound, and you actually can see it on the RDOT camera.
Is this the one that we were looking at, Darren?
No, it's a different one.
You can actually see this thing on its side right here.
Look at that.
Oh yeah, okay. So we've got a semi here on its side, and this is where the tornado passed over too. Now, whether or not this was a tornado or if it was wind that knocked this thing over, not sure. The Weather Service is going to have to make that determination. But you've at least got one semi here that was blown over on I-40. This is going to be, correct, guys? That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at near the Welcome Center.
I-40 eastbound.
Okay.
On exit 7.
Exit 7. Okay.
It's right there by the
okay, so this we're east of the Welcome Center now.
It's the 540-40 interchange.
I'm with you now. So if you're taking 40 here and you get off, you're going to get off the ramp here, and then you're going to head out towards Fort Smith. So this is the ramp here. You had it blown over. If you kept going straight, you would head out towards Alma. If you got off the ramp, right about here would be Cloverleaf, where you'd get off to get on 64, or you'd head to the west towards Pointer Stadium, which would be basically just behind me here. So that's what we're looking at. Obviously, this is damage. This is strong wind. This is why we got on the air, and this is why we're so concerned with the winds tonight and the high impact winds that are moving through. Huge surge of wind, enough to obviously knock over a semi-truck here. Unfortunately, this isn't going to be the only damage that we see. I'm not sure what power outages look like across the area, but I assume there's a good portion of folks who are without power.
Garrett, they're saying there's a 1,200 power outages in Crawford County right now. 1,200
power outages, and that may continue to go up too. Another thing you can do here is if you've downloaded the 5 News app, you're probably already getting some of our pushes if you signed up for the notifications on here. And through the 5 News app, once you load it up, you can click on the Near Me feature. Once the Near Me feature loads, you can upload pictures where you live. Don't do it now. do it only when it's safe to do so. We're also broadcasting live here on the app. You can see it on top. So for those of you who haven't lost power, if you do lose power and your cell phone's charged up, you can click that thing real quick. You're watching 5 News at 10. This is the top of the hour. Time for our newscast. We're going to continue live coverage here of the weather. If there's any new information that comes in, Michelle, Darren, Erica, you guys feel free to jump in with the latest on what's happening. We've obviously had a very significant wind event that has moved through the river valley here within about the last 30 minutes or so, with wind damage likely. We've already had you saw the images here of a semi that was blown over. I suspect we're going to see shingles off of homes. We're probably going to see RV trailers that have been blown over. Backyard metal sheds are going to be messed up with this thing. Trees probably have been uprooted with this. And this wind is still out there. It's just moving northeast now, out towards Dean Springs and the northeast part of Crawford County. So going back to the velocity images here, here's the surge. See it punching through? We had some strong rotation initially, and then we've still got some rotation on that. Let me go back here to this.
And they also have reported that there's multiple reports of trees damaged and downed by the thunderstorm winds in Crawford County, so by Van Buren.
Yeah, and I think that unfortunately a lot of this stuff is going to be out towards historic Van Buren too, as it moved through. It came right over Riggs Drive, went over Vista Hills, and then made its way northeast out towards Fayetteville Boulevard, Alma Boulevard here, both stretching from Alma and Van Buren, and keeps moving north. I'm looking here for tornado debris. I don't see anything that really sticks out to me. There's a little bit of noise in here, but it's not as clear as it was earlier when it moved over Van Buren and just north of Roland. There's another surge of that wind moving north. That wind's going to continue moving northeast into West Franklin County. Heads up in Franklin County with this. You're going to be getting that surge of wind. It's right along, it's actually east of 71 now with the strongest wind speeds that are there. I'm seeing it out towards Dyer. Let me check here off camera here for the rotation pockets.
They're also saying there's a report in Van Buren of a tree down onto a home.
Okay. Unfortunately, I think we're probably going to get a couple of those. We'll probably have several of those, unfortunately, just because we mentioned this earlier, but the ground's just soaked. And when the ground is this wet, it just doesn't take much to push those trees out of the ground, topple them over, and then all of a sudden you got a tree falling on top of a home. And that in itself can cause us some issues.
And Garrett, we do have more people losing power. We have about 4,200 out of power in Fort Smith with OG&E right now. Okay,
so power outages still coming in. That's the Fort Smith area. Want to take your eyes real quick, guys, up towards Dean Springs. I think we have this rotation starting to redevelop here. This is between Dean Springs and Mountainburg. Look at this right here. Look at these reds and greens. Look how it's starting to come together again. Look how it's swirling. This is the northern side of that Bow Echo, and I think did we just get a new tornado warning on that?
They did for Franklin County until 10:30.
Okay, so this is a brand new tornado warning. It's the same place that we were just talking about. It's right here, and it's based on that new tornado, that new swirl that we just saw. Let's look at it again. Look how it's moving northeast. See the swirl here? See a little twisting in the last couple of frames right there? This is out over Dean Springs, moving towards the north and northeast. I'm going to check for tornado debris off camera here and see what I can find here. It looks a little bit messy still. Backing this up a little bit more. It's tough to say whether or not this is on the ground. Regardless, I would still get away from windows and treat this thing like it was on the ground, because the wind speeds alone are going to be just like a tornado with some of the gusts that we've seen. And by the way, I mean, we're talking about this rotation here. Look down to the south here, between Alma and Mulberry, out to where Eagle Crest was, right in this area. We've still got strong winds headed into Mulberry. So we have another gust of wind here down to the south, which is going to continue marching basically right down I-40. And then farther to the north, you have those stronger winds that are approaching Mountainburg. I'm not sure if there's a RDOT cam.
For where?
See if there's an RDOT cam just south of Mountainburg. Looking southbound is what we'd want to see. We might be able to see something in that area. The rotation to me looks like it's going to be on the east side of 71, so it's going to be tough to see it. But certainly if it's caused us some issues, we'll know that. Here's a graphic. Here's Dean Springs. So this is just north of Dean Springs. See if I can populate some streets up here. Here's Dean Springs Road. This is going to be along West Graphic Road. Here's Dow Jones Road. Boy, look at these winds just really picking up here. Dean Road, Ridgeway Lane. This is out towards Graphic Circle. Let me back out a little bit more. Strong rotation here on this, guys. This is a strong area of rotation here between Dean Springs and Mountainburg. It hasn't really hooked up enough to where it looks like it's on the ground right now, but I am seeing some very, very strong winds come out of this thing. It's just surging. This whole thing is moving so quickly, and it looks like it may have another on the, looking here south of Mulberry, right here, there could be something that's trying to develop here, right in this area. I'm seeing this, this green, and see this right here? This to me looks like it's another swirl too. This is Georgia Ridge Road leading right up to I-40. Let's see, that tornado warnings, Crawford, Franklin, that's going to go till 10:30. That's the one from earlier. But it looks like there's some other swirl near Mulberry too. So watch out here in this area. Just be mindful of this, that there could be something trying to develop near Mulberry. Regardless, you need to be away from windows. We've already had reports of trees on homes with this thing that moved through. And so we've got two areas to watch here. I think this is trying to do something here, but you obviously have the tornado warning from the Weather Service here just south of Mountainburg that's moving north, northeast. And then you have that line, that bow stretching from Mulberry back to the south into Charleston and Greenwood. The severe thunderstorm warnings here go through Ozark, so you're going to get the damaging wind with this probably as far south as central Franklin County. But realistically, it's going to be central Crawford and East Crawford County that have the highest damage potential from not only rotation, but also from wind speeds too with the storm that's moving in.
You can really see that now. That truck overturned on I-40.
You guys can pull it back up if you get it.
Let me pull it up for you. Computer's going slow.
I'm gonna look off camera here.
There you go. You can see it on the left.
Oh yeah, looks like some folks have stopped.
Well, state police are finally out there.
Okay.
And that is heading east, and so you can see the intersection going up to I-540 right there. So
Yep.
it's right before you get to the 540 on-ramp off of 40 going east. So he was going east, or this truck was going east when it got blown over.
Goodness. Yeah. So we'll see how many other damage reports come in, but it gives you an idea of the magnitude. Yeah, you've got ASP there over on the side. I see some of the blue lights there. All right, so let's go back over to the radar real quick and get another look and see what else is going on here.
So do you see that new tornado warning for Johnson?
I have not yet. So, do they expand the one down to the?
You see it right there?
Okay. Well, I think we've got it. We've got the main one here that goes through Crawford and Franklin.
Okay, yeah, that's the same one.
Okay. So we'll see if I think the area of responsibility shifts from Tulsa to Little Rock right here. So we'll see if the Weather Service in Little Rock issues for the north part of Johnson County. I'm going to get a full view here. I know we've covered a lot of ground, and it's been tricky because these storms are moving so fast that within just the last 45 minutes or so, we've had probably 2 tornadoes touch down. We've had semis flipped over. We've had trees on homes in a real short amount of time. So this thing has been moving really quick. I'm going to go to I'm going to animate this if I can get it pulled up here and give you a full screen view of how this whole thing is playing out across the area. There we go. So this is a wider view that shows the general trend of the storms. You can see the tornado warnings here in northeast Crawford County coming up to northern Franklin County. I'm also seeing this whole thing lift northeast. Look at the heavy rain coming into Bentonville and Fayetteville. I'm watching this for flash flooding because I do think we'll probably get flash flood warnings out of this. 1 to 2 inches is what we were thinking on average. I think the Fort Smith area with the second round that's coming through is probably going to be closer to 2, and I think many of you are going to be closer to 2 inches or greater. The flash flood guidance, which tells us they're going to issue the warnings, was right around 2 inches. So I do think that we get those flash flood warnings probably lighten up from Bentonville down through Fort Smith. It's not going to be the same magnitude of what we saw last week, not as much water, but it's not going to take as much water to cause problems. The other thing I'm seeing is we call these it's basically the center of a storm, and it's going to pull the whole thing away. It's a convective center, and if you look close, you can see the swirl right here. We call these are mesoscale convective vortices. I know, it's a fancy phrase, right? But the key thing with this is eventually going to draw all of this out of the area in about 2 to 3 hours. So it's not going to be an all-night rain for us. Not going to be an all-night heavy rain for us. We do have that area that we're watching tracking northeastward. But the problem with this is along and ahead of these things, you get a lot of heavy rain. And so the long and short of all that jibber jabber I was talking about with that MCV is along this path we're going to have heavy rainfall, which puts all of that heavy rain in Benton County. Go ahead, Darren.
Well, we finally got a location of the tree on the house. It's on William Penn Street in Van Buren, just south of Poplar Street. No word yet of any injuries or anything, but that's the only damage report as far as house damage. A lot of trees are down across Crawford County. Of course, we've got the accident, the 18-wheeler blown over on I-40 right there at 540. We also have some damage in Roland and Muldrow. A lot of trees are down. They have one person trapped in a house with a tree on it there in Roland, and probably it's in Muldrow, I believe.
Okay.
But the one house is on William Penn Street there in Van Buren. That's the only damage we've gotten so far.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's the current damage that's come into us, guys. Is that coming through Weather Service or EMs?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's also in Alma too, a tree down on a road, so it's not passable for 2 miles west.
Of 2 miles west of Alma?
Yes.
Okay. That may be on, did it name the street? Was it on 64?
It didn't say its street name.
All right, we're 2 miles west of Alma. We're probably on 64 in this general area. Boy, you can see that wind as it punched through. Look at that line just moving through. And then, of course, you had that rotation that was right there on the north side that just lifted up towards the northeast into central Crawford County. Unfortunately, we still have this wind ongoing, though, guys. Going back, you can see that wind still looking at rotation here south of Mountainburg. That rotation that we saw near Mulberry, let's look here a little closer. That doesn't look like it turned into anything. It's right here still. There's a real weak pocket, but the stronger one's right here. These two they're not kissing each other. They're kind of far apart, aren't they? This is a broad area of rotation. If they get a little closer, there's the new scan as it came through. I still see broad rotation here. The winds are surging out faster than they can pull back in, and so you're getting the wind damage more than anything else. Let's get a little closer here on this thing. East of Graphic, I'm trying to populate some roads for you folks who are watching this. I know as we get more towards northeast Crawford County, we're going to be more towards a rural area, and you get a lot of county roads that pop up on here. County Road 1019. We're also looking at Rock Creek Road, Sherman Creek Road. Go ahead.
Apparently, the roof has been blown off the Crawford County Courthouse.
Oh, wow. Seriously?
We need to get somebody
Is that,
yeah.
that came through?
The emergency management.
Emergency management. So we've got downtown Van Buren, reports now coming in of the roof, at least part of the roof from what we're hearing being blown off of the Crawford County Courthouse. Man, if that happened, we talked about this when it was coming through. The train station, historic downtown Van Buren, took a real punch from this thing. It may have been wind damage. It may have been a tornado. You might not even be able to tell tonight because of all the damage that's going to be in that area. But we do have damage in downtown Van Buren. We have damage on I-40. We have damage in Alma, and we have damage in Roland. These are all co-located on top of where not only the wind speeds were, but where that rotation passed through as well.
And we got another viewer damage report of a tree down across Kibler Road out close to the ball fields at North 38th Street in Van Buren as well.
Okay.
Yeah, that's as you're heading out of Van Buren on 162, I believe, and it's right there by those ball fields.
Yeah, so we're looking at just a large area of wind damage here. I think anywhere this bow moves through is going to cause at least some kind of wind damage. There's our new flash flood warning, guys. We knew this was coming, didn't we? This is here stretching from north of Poto through Fort Smith. This is going to make things worse because we're already out there trying to see what the damage looks like and just trying to get the power back on and get on the cell phone and tell the folks we're okay. Be careful. Be real cautious with flash flooding at night, guys. Flash flooding, I know we've been talking about wind and tornadoes, and of course, I mean, that's the imminent threat, right? But flash flooding takes more lives per year than wind or tornadoes combined. Flash flooding at night, even worse. You can't see it when you're headed towards it. So in this area, be very careful here for street flooding and for ditches and creeks that start filling up because the flash flooding threat, this is going to shift overnight from a severe storm threat to a flash flooding threat. When you get up in the morning, the water levels are probably already going to be gone. Damage is still going to be there, but we definitely have that flash flooding risk that just lit up now for Crawford, Sebastian, Sequoia, as well as North LaFleur County. Go back in on this storm here. We've been on the air, I believe, less than about 45 minutes, and look at all that has happened with this storm. I mean, this thing is just continuing to surge. It's as if it's driving down I-40 and just knocking everything over along its way on either side for about 5-10 miles or so. And that's generally the path that this is taking. We've still got Ozark in line for the wind. Ozark, you're going to be picking up the wind. I think these winds are still going to be booking it, guys. Coming into Ozark now out over Cecil, Mulberry. I'm still seeing some rotation on this storm. It's not as strong northeast of Mulberry. It's this little area right here. But the wind speeds are coming into Ozark now. So you guys in Ozark, central Franklin County, this is along 64. Here's Ozark. There's Sutherland Crossings. The strongest push of winds, it's just coming right down 64. If you got in the car in Van Buren, you head down 64, I guarantee you're going to see damage all along 64 tomorrow in this area. Don't get in the car and drive down there. I don't know the extent of the damage, but I know they're going to have to get out there and clean it up. But just to give you an idea of the path that the storm has taken, it has basically moved west to east right down 64. This wind is coming into Ozark now along North 36th Street. Here's Hillbilly Drive. This is going to be out towards Walden, West River Street. There's South 20th, Baldor Drive, all up and down 23. Here's the intersection of 23 and 64. That's going to be moving right over Ozark. You're going to expect to see power failure here, trees uprooted, probably some shingles ripped off of homes. Hopefully that's the extent of it and we don't get more damage out of this, but definitely a very strong storm here with wind damage coming into Ozark. Looks like the stronger winds are actually just north of town here, just north of Ozark up towards Watalula. Let me see where this is. Here's Sutherland Crossings. There's 23 North. This is out towards Wire Road. Here's Lone Oak Road, Whitson Lane, City Lake Road. There's Duncan Road here. This is moving north, northeast. Move this up a little bit more to the north. There's Watalula. Here's Lower Jethro. Jethro going to be hit by this as well. Middle Ridge Road. Got some great friends that live in this area. You guys need to get away from the window until this thing passes through. Here's County Road 151. This is going to be Camp Newell Road, and I believe that's, there's Lower Jethro Road that's located here in northern Franklin County, also Oak Ridge. That's where the strongest winds are. It's this dark red here moving northeast, right up 23 up towards Watalula, and then 215 as well. We've still got winds underway in Mulberry as well as Charleston. Just looking for any other pockets of rotation here, guys. I've got some gusty winds in northwest Arkansas, Springdale, Fayetteville, nothing severe. River Valley still have that tornado warning, which is going to run till 10:30. I'm not seeing anything that looks like we've got any kind of tornado in progress right now. But boy, the wind speeds are still just booking it. Central Franklin County right now, anywhere from Cecil to Cass, that whole area is where the strongest winds are located.
Hey, Garrett, just to confirm, I did reach out to Brad Thomas. He is the Emergency Management Director in Crawford County, and he said at this point he cannot confirm yet the reports of the roof being blown off at the courthouse. He is still monitoring at the Emergency Operations Center. So we'll, of course, continue to follow that, and if we get more information about that, we'll update. Also checking the power outages, OG&E, there are almost 7,000 people without power in the Fort Smith area, more than 1,000 in Alma, about 2,500 in Mulberry, and also some across the Oklahoma line in the Roland-Arcoma area.
All right, lots of.
I believe they've just issued a thunderstorm warning.
They did. They've got one for LaFleur County, and it looks like they're going to cancel the Franklin and Crawford County one. I'm looking this damage report came in too. This is Sequoia County Emergency Manager is going to report damage in the Roland and Muldrow areas. Consisted of multiple trees down, one tree on a home trapping a person inside. I'm not sure if that's the one. Well, this one came through at 10:17. That may be a different one that you referred to, Darren, from earlier. So emergency personnel are out here hoping to get some of these folks out of their homes with this thing that came through tonight. Just a whole mess of wind. This thing got organized just south of Salisaw and just flew through Sebastian, Crawford, and Franklin County. We did see the tornado warning fall off, so we've got some good news out of that, right? I think the intensity is going to start to wane as this moves north. I don't think this bow is going to continue to keep going at the same intensity as it moves north-northeast. That warning that just came down is going to be LaFleur, so I'm going to take you to the new warning that just came in. Let me pull back out there. There we go. This is a new severe thunderstorm warning for southern LaFleur County. We also have these storms headed towards Scott. And keep in mind that we could still see additional damage, and more of these little bow segments roll through places like Scott County and in southeast Oklahoma as well. So we're by no means over with as far as the storms go, but we definitely have these areas to watch. Here's Waldron. This is the new area we're watching. Let's see if we can find any rotation in this stuff and where the winds are strongest here. There was our big surge that moved through Fort Smith and Van Buren. And yeah, looks like we've got another area that's trying to bow out right here, just over Tallahena. Let's stop this real quick. This little green area right here could be indicating too that we're looking at a new bow that's starting to form. This is going to go till 11 o'clock for LaFleur County. They issued the warning at 10:15. So this may be headed out towards Poto. Now, right now, that warning polygon doesn't include Poto. The yellow box is just shy of it. But I'll watch this thing. If we start seeing some of those returns on there, it's disorganized now. But if it starts getting a little more organized, we'll see what it does. It's this one right here that we're watching. Regardless, Poto is going to get it, and that cell is going to move, unfortunately, over Fort Smith. It won't be the same intensity when it gets there, but it's going to drop a lot of rainfall. So you're still up over 2 inches of rain. Look at all this. All this is moving more north than east. This is all going to be in Fort Smith. Expect widespread street flooding, places like Frog Bayou, Lee Creek, all the tributaries that lead up to it, they're all going to flood with this. They're already been pushed to the banks with this thing that came through. You saw Twin Bridges earlier last week when you had all that rainfall. These water levels are all coming up. So if you live in a flood-prone area, you got to be very aware of that as these things move through. An interesting feature, too, is this thing punched through parts of Fort Smith. It pulled down a lot of dry air. If you look close, too, you can see the rain fall apart right there as that dry air gets sucked into it. So, I mean, this was a powerhouse of a bow echo that moved through, and emergency personnel are out here in the Fort Smith, Van Buren area now working on it. Man, what a storm, huh?
Yeah, we have another damage report coming in from Larita Ray on Facebook telling us that 2 blocks over from Butterfield Assembly, there's a tree on her home as well as several other people in her neighborhood.
Yeah, and that's right there by
the semi.
Yeah, that's right where that truck got blown over. Or
Yeah.
not too far from where that truck got blown over on I-40.
When you see where that truck was, if you look just to the right, Butterfield Assembly is like right there.
It's
so
right there at the
right
end,
around
almost
the curve.
between the intersection of Highway 64 and Interstate 40. So it's right in line with where that truck
Yeah.
got blown over.
Hey, Garrett.
Go ahead.
There's a new severe thunderstorm warning for Johnson.
Okay, I've got Johnson County. I've also got a new one. It looks like a new severe thunderstorm warning for Washington County, too.
Washington.
Is that right?
Yes, Washington County.
Okay, so we've got that moving north-northeast. There's the semi. It's what Darren was talking about, too. I can't point to it behind the thing, but on the right side there is where Butterfield is. That whole area is going to have some kind of damage there. And remember, too, as you go from exit 7 out towards the Van Buren exit on the other side, where the high school is, Pointer Trail, basically, you're probably going to have wind damage up and down Pointer Trail when this thing came through, because that's where that surge of wind was really pushing through the entire area. I think we've got a new flash flood warning, too. This one's going to be for Washington County. So let's get into North Washington here, South Benton County. We're looking at it here. I see what you're talking about, Michelle. You're talking about this storm here. This one's going to be Fayetteville moving more towards the east. I was checking out the green box here. This is the new flash flood warning for Fayetteville, Lincoln, West Fork. Basically because it's raining, right? I mean, we had almost half a foot of rain in some places last week. You can see this is Holiday Inn ICAM. This is looking west and southwest as those storms move on into the area. You can see the lightning from this storm. Quite a bit of lightning within pretty much all the storms. Well, that's pulled up. I'm going to move over to velocity. Oh, there's the wind. Look at it pick up right there. All right, so let's look at this a little bit closer. Where is this wind located? And we can pull up some RDOT cams if you don't mind, Michelle. This is going to be, pull up the RDOT cam that's right here north of Razorback Stadium, out towards Garland and out towards Weddington, just south of Johnson. The wind speeds here are probably, let's see here. These wind speeds are probably going close to 60 miles an hour here. So this is going to be moving just south of Johnson. Here's Vantage Road here. This is the Johnson. Okay, so looking at it here, try a little farther south out towards the interchange. Let's try this one right here,
Yeah.
Fulbright Expressway. Let's see what this looks like. This is looking at where the strongest winds are located. Hopefully we'll be able to get it here with the RDOT cam. So now we're looking at where those strongest winds are. Tough to see out there. It looks like the lightning isn't as prolific as it is in the river valley. We still have a lot of it there. We may try one more camera in this area just to see what we can find as it moves through.
So the National Weather Service is reporting that there is trees uprooted and snapped and a roof blown off in Washington County, located on Old Wire Road.
Okay, I see that here. I've also got a new report from our good friend Wayne Johnson in Van Buren. Roof blown off the Gerber plant and several buildings in that area too. Appreciate all our storm spotters that are out there in the River Valley. I'm sure they were up on their ham radios alerting the first responders before this thing moved through. Again, that's a new report from KD5OMI from Wayne of a roof blown off the Gerber plant. That's going to be what is the Darren Clayton Expressway, Fort Smith Parkway now?
Well, actually it's on Midland. It's right there.
Oh,
north
you're talking about the Midland area.
Yeah. If you're talking about Gerber plant, that's
Yeah.
at Midland and Waldron up there, at
Okay.
the, right across the street from the K. Rogers Park.
Okay.
Do you want me to show anyone else?
Yeah, go ahead and let's try this one real quick again. This is the mile marker 67. Let's see here. Yeah, that's a good shot here. It'll give us a good view of what's going on here as we look northeast. That wind was going to be right in this area here. It doesn't look to be as intense as what we were seeing earlier. And on radar, I'm not seeing it as intense either. To reiterate what Michelle said a second ago, that's 3 miles southeast of Shady Grove, Washington County. It's a public report. Trees uprooted and the roof blown off. That was the one that came in just a moment ago. Let's see, going back over to radar here on this.
Maybe.
Yeah, the wind speeds that are coming in, that are moving through Fayetteville and Goshen and Elkins right now, they aren't as strong as what moved through Van Buren. We'll go back in play mode here, and I'll put this back on and loop this whole thing for you. Let's see if we can get this going. Let me go one more frame forward. There it is. Okay, so this is the setup. This is what we've got going on. We have severe thunderstorm warnings stretching from, let's see, this one's the Washington County one's going to go to 11 o'clock. We have warnings stretching from southern LaFleur County. We have flash flood warnings in Fort Smith. We have severe thunderstorm warnings from all that wind in North Franklin County heading into Madison County. Johnson County now under severe thunderstorm warning, as is southern Madison, western Newton. Western Madison is under a warning. Washington's under a warning too. Again, this is all moving southwest to northeast. The back end of this thing probably doesn't clear us until closer to about 1 in the morning. And that's going to be when this little pivot point right in here lifts more northeastward. Along and north of that area, though, you're going to get some very, very heavy rainfall. And that's probably going to be right around Greene Country in northeast Oklahoma, mostly in northeast Oklahoma, and then the western part of Benton County. I'm going to look at wind speeds for you guys from north to south just because we have so much wind that's going on all over the area. Time now is 10:27, so these things started hitting at 9:30. We've been covering this stuff for about an hour, and look how active it's become here. It's a fast-moving system, and when you get fast-moving systems like this, you get a lot of wind, and occasionally with that wind, you can get those tornadoes which spin up. You obviously get wind damage. You don't get a lot of hail because these storms updrafts just can't hold the hail up. You probably had about quarter size in some spots. I'm sure some of you had some hail. You don't get the big grapefruit size hail or anything like that out of this though. So I'm going to go back to the wind here on this, and we'll pull up velocity. So here are our wind speeds. And I'm looking at the darker green colors here. Boy, there's a little couplet right there, wasn't there? Right there. That moved through the southwest part of Benton County earlier. Real quick one. That continues to track east. That's probably where some of that wind damage occurred right here. Those are the darker green colors. And then let me zoom in just a touch more on this before we start dropping it to the south. So from Rogers to Fayetteville, we have strong gusty winds. The strongest winds are over Fayetteville. These winds are probably in the neighborhood of 40 to 50 miles per hour or so. Another report just coming in, A to Z out towards Alma does have some damage as well. That's going to be central Crawford County. This is in Fayetteville, tracking east. Here's West Fork. Let me move you a little bit farther to the south here. We've got southwest Madison County with gusty winds. And remember, the green colors indicate wind speeds moving to the radar, the red's moving away. So when you get closer to the radar site, now we're looking at winds moving away from the radar. I'm not showing the same intensity as earlier as this starts to move into northern Franklin. It may be just as intense in this one area right here between Watalula and Mountaintop up towards Pitson Junction, moving northeast. That's probably the most intense part of the storm now. That's east of 23. I know you guys in LaFleur County are saying, what about us? We've got warnings too. Let's get down there and let's look at them. So I'm going to back out of here and I'm going to take you down to LaFleur County and we're going to look for where the strongest winds are and whether or not there's any rotation with this thing. These are the winds headed to Poto, and we do have some strong winds. Green towards the radar. This is moving towards Poto. Those wind speeds are probably going to be, just by looking at radar, I'm estimating probably 60 miles an hour. I don't think the 70-mile-an-hour gust is going to be as prolific as what we just saw in the River Valley at all. But we are going to get some strong winds that are moving into that area. Looks like a new severe thunderstorm warning just came down. It's going to be till 11:15 for Logan and Johnson County as well. These are tracking northeast. There's Heavener. Here's Poto. They're nasty storms. And I'm telling you, just by looking at the lightning, I mean, good grief, does this thing have lightning. It's got a lot of lightning in it. It doesn't have anything right now, though, that's causing widespread wind damage like what we saw. What I'm looking at here, there's the new warning I just told you about. It's lighting up. Look at the little twist here right there. That's something to watch. We'll see how that plays out. Kind of, to me, looks like the back edge is getting some dry air sucked into it. See how the green and yellows start disappearing right there? That could be, this thing could be on a weakening trend. That'd be great if it was. We could use a break here. We could use lower rainfall totals. But that's what's going on here. And I know we've got this stuff headed into Poto too. So let me get into Poto and show you guys what's going on. This is out towards Kavanaugh. Here's Poto, there's Heavener. This is up and down 59 in central LaFleur County. A heavy rainfall out towards Worcester. Strong gusty winds, just prolific lightning with this. Also the possibility of flash flooding from central LaFleur County back on up towards the north. This is all headed to Fort Smith with heavy rainfall. This is just going to make problems worse, especially for those who lost parts of their roof. The rain's not going to stop here for another hour or so before it moves out. Severe thunderstorm warning, 11:15. This is from 10:31 for Washington County. So they did reissue. There it is lighting up here. So they're going to go ahead and reissue for that warning in Washington County now. Let me go back to the north. So they're issuing on this right in here. And that's going to be headed towards Huntsville with the wind. I'm going to stop the radar, clean this thing up a little bit here, and then go back over to velocity. So these are the wind speeds that move through. And this is headed towards the east. Another thing, too, guys, like there was a couple of frames. See that red and green? It wouldn't surprise me if we had some damage here. There may have been a brief spin up right here along 244 west of Weddington, right there. I'm not sure if there's any damage. I haven't heard of any there. It's going to be just to the west of North Jackson Highway on 16. But this is something to keep an eye on here north of Charlie Thurman Road. That's basically south of southeast of Siloam Springs. There was just a real quick pocket. You saw the red and green right there that moved through. That could have been the start of this next little area of strong winds that moved into northwest Arkansas and into Fayetteville. The one thing I'm noticing, though, out of this is the darker green colors really fell off when they moved through Fayetteville. Watch them move through. Bright, gone. So, yeah, we still have a severe thunderstorm here, and certainly we don't want to take it lightly after what we've seen tonight. Good grief. But the wind speeds seem to be not as strong. Still 60 miles an hour or so. It's still going to be enough to pull trees out of the ground and uproot trees. I mean, we had so much rainfall. It just doesn't take much to pull the trees out of the ground now. And of course, you've got trees snapped as well, or at least branches snapped that we've heard of in the Van Buren area from that storm that's moving through. Speaking
of that damage, Garrett, we've also heard from people who live in the Van Buren area. One family off North 6th Street near Pointer Trail who have their shed and carport on top of their cars. Others who've had trees down and other significant damage in that area. Also a report of a tree down at a home in Muldrow. Okay. Quite a few damage, man, up and down Pointer Trail, and really this thing came basically down 64 and I-40. 5 miles either side of 64 and I-40. We're talking Roland to Dedora, south through Arcoma, through North Fort Smith, to South Van Buren, and then getting into Alma and Kibler on each side. We're going to have wind damage of that. This thing was a large wind machine as it moved right across the state line and continues to track northeast. This is coming in towards Clarksville now. The wind speeds aren't quite as strong as they were earlier, but we still have those winds moving northeastward.
I'm going to zoom in on this with the radar first, and then I'm going to take you over to what the velocity data looks like. Velocity is just a fancy word for saying wind speeds. So we're going to look at that here in a second and see what the winds are doing. The one thing I am seeing, though, is see how this is it's bowing here near Batson, so this is where the strongest winds are, but it's more linear, it's more north-south oriented coming into Clarksville, so I think we're still going to get winds over 60 miles an hour coming into Clarksville. I just don't think we're going to be getting the wind speeds that are 70, 80 plus miles per hour like what we just saw in Van Buren and Fort Smith with this thing that came through.
Hey, just real quick, we got a picture sent or message to me of the Crawford County Courthouse. There's metal, there's signs blown down. You can't really tell off the top what the top of the courthouse looks like, but there is debris scattered all over the front and side lawn of the Crawford County Courthouse, and it looks like it's twisted metal. I'm going to see if I can figure out how to get this to you and where we can look at it.
You may send it over to Michelle. She might be able to ingest it into the weather system.
Yeah, just send it to me and I'll put it on there for Garrett.
You can probably use Max 2 for that, Michelle, I think.
Yeah, I can.
Okay.
And then I'll put it in your show.
Okay. All right, so let's go back over to the wind speed on this. Yeah, still got some strong winds headed in towards Clarksville. You can see the darker red colors start to come down, though, in some spots. Boy, it's still storming good in Ozark, though. I mean, we still got some heavy wind, 60-plus miles per hour into Ozark. Little notch there. Keep an eye on that one and on this one. But I don't think, they're not really, this one's not located next to any strong winds. This one is. So this one might be the one to keep a closer eye on as that bow continues to move through. We also have one to the north that shows a little eddy, or at least a small circulation here in northwest Johnson County. Take you back out a little more and put this thing in play mode again for you. So there's the wind speeds that move through. That warning moved from southwest to northeast. Getting some on radar. The darker blues showed up here. I think that may be some false echoes popping up on the radar. Go back over to reflectivity here. That line of storms is going to be headed towards Clarksville and eventually into Logan County. Fast-moving system. I think we're finished up with this stuff a little bit after midnight, probably close to about 1 in the morning. Here's another wide view of the storms that's moving through. Again, southwest to northeast. This is going to be tracking out towards Waldron. We do have severe thunderstorm warnings as well in western Scott County, eastern Logan County. This is mostly due to wind. There's a lot of lightning in that one in South Lafleur County, though. That one looks to be a bit more intense. You can tell kind of where the intense ones are just by looking at where the lightning is greatest. You've got the one in Franklin and the one in South Lafleur County that are really the strongest with the lightning strikes here. All of that is continuing to move northeast. Not going to be surprised at all when the Weather Service comes out and says a lot of this is tornado damage too. In Van Buren, in Muldrow, and in Roland. We had a lot of spinning going on with this thing, and we had a lot of forward motion with the wind. So it's going to be very difficult for them also to delineate or to be able to tell the difference where tornadoes started and where the wind damage started. Tornado stopped, wind damage started. They're probably going to be running into each other because you had that swirl, and then right south of the swirl you had the wind speeds, which were essentially nearly as strong as where the swirl was. Obviously they were a little stronger with that rotation, but man, south of there, just a tremendous amount of wind with this storm. This whole area is lit up with warnings now. Of course, we're concerned with places like Benton County where we have all the flash flooding concerns. The good news is the back edge of this thing is right about here. So as the whole system continues to lift northeast, it's going to finally move out and will dry out somewhat. I think still get some lingering wraparound stuff with this thing as it moves through. But just by looking at the lightning data, you can see that the heaviest lightning strikes have been on the leading edge of this thing. And so as this thing moves east, we should start to see less and less in the way of intensity. Unfortunately, it'll switch back over to more of a threat of flash flooding into the overnight. Let's see, White Bluff area, Old Highway 71. Got a lot of trees down in that area too. Let's see, it's going to be a new warning here, issued 1038. This just came in for Johnson County. It's going to go till 11:30 for Johnson County. I don't know if that one's, it looks like the whole county's already lit up with warnings here. So a good chunk of our area is under these severe thunderstorm warnings or flash flood warnings. I think it's probably just a matter of time before we get a new flash flood warning here in Benton County. So if the roads flooded last Wednesday in Benton County, and they always flood. Those are the ones that are going to flood out of this. It's not going to be something that rains all night. You wake up in the morning in the parking lot at the Walmart's under 2 feet of water. It's not going to be like that with this round, but it is going to be one of those storm systems that gives us a lot of heavy rainfall, at least in the 2-inch range, especially with the data that you're seeing here and the storms that are training over that same location time and time again here. Let's see here. Just checking for any new warnings that are out there. I got one from Scott now. This one just came in until 11:30. It was issued at 10:39, so it just came in for Scott County. And that's based on the cell that you're seeing here with all that lightning. That's going to be lifting northeast. So basically, most of us are under some kind of warning, right? I mean, with the exception of Benton County, where it's raining and we're waiting for the flash flood warning, we have severe thunderstorm warnings and flash flood warnings in Washington County. You have that storm crawling east right into Madison County now. The most intense part of the storm is to the south, but we have had some wind damage in Washington County, and we'll probably get a little bit more just because of how saturated the ground is. Going back over here to the wind data, we had some fairly strong winds earlier. These don't look as impressive as they did earlier when this thing initially came through. It's interesting right here. Let's move back down to the south here and let's see what this is doing. This is in central Johnson County now. You can see that blue that flickered, then went away. That was just a bad radar frames. Occasionally you get those. The Weather Service came up with something where they put these dual polarization radars into supplemental scans, and so we actually get more low-level scans. Occasionally you get some errors on those scans too. So if you see a flash like that, you'll know it's just a real quick frame, and then about 45 seconds later it'll update. I'm watching this here. This is a little indention here east of 103 and northwest of Clarksville. There could be a small pocket here of spin. That's something to keep an eye on. Now, it's a leading edge spin. It's not like buried within that big bow, so it may not be as prolific a storm that is going to do what we saw earlier, which was just unreal to see that wind that was moving through. All right, go ahead and pull it up, Michelle. I'll step out of the way here and actually grab a drink as this thing goes on.
Let me pull it up.
Of water. Okay, so we're going to bring up, this is the Crawford County Courthouse?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, now what we're looking at, that's the side that faces the old jail there off Main Street.
Yep.
And you can see the debris, and what you're looking at is what I'm looking at. Is that not twisted?
It's definitely bent
where
up,
that handicap
yeah.
sign is right there, is that not twisted somehow?
It is, and not only that, but you can see how it was forcefully thrown off the building when you look over, and we've got this pulled up on the show here, on my severe weather show, but look right in here, you can see it wrapped around the tree too. So we'll have to wait and see when the Weather Service comes out to...
What you can't tell is whether there's any damage to the roof
Yeah.
that we had talked about a little bit ago. And we're still waiting for confirmation on if there's any roof damage to the Crawford County Courthouse. This, of course, downtown on Main Street. We know there is some roof damage at Gerber, and it's not the one on Midland. It's out there off Harriet, near North 6th Street in Fort Smith. So there is some damage at the Gerber plant there as well. We're still waiting to figure out how much damage is there. But there's a lot of trees down all across Van Buren. There's Erica, 10,000 people in Fort Smith that don't have power, but a total of 20,000 across the region. Okay.
I'm trying to clean this up for you guys so you get a better picture. There you go. So, yeah, look at that. Looks like you've got some wires, too, on the left side of the building. Power's on, at least inside the building there. They may have generators in the courthouse, though. I suspect that we're going to have damage all up and down historic downtown Van Buren from this thing that moved through.
Well, and up Rudy Road, I've gotten some texts from some folks who live up along Rudy Road that their fences are knocked down. They've got storage buildings storage buildings that have been blown onto cars and so forth. So there's some even damage up along Van Buren, but even north of Van Buren up 59 Highway.
Check UGC on that Tegna 1. See if there's any other pictures.
Okay.
One of the things you can do. Head back. I'm going to put this in play mode again. It takes us a little bit of time to build these pictures as they come into us. Sorry, it takes us a little bit of time to build these pictures as they come into us. You can see us doing it on the fly. It kind of looks a little sloppy sometimes, but at least you can get an idea of what the picture looks like. Also seeing a report, power lines down Arena Road, Kelly Highway area, North Fort Smith. So this damage may have gone as far south as Kelly Highway, out towards where State Police is and where the Walmart is. They're on the east side of the interstate. Let's see. let's see. Power outages, Van Buren and Franklin County are incorrect on the power outage page. Arkansas Valley Co-op not reporting in those counties. Their site's actually down. So even though we're seeing that, just keep that in mind. Emergency managers reporting, let's see, that's Arcoma, south side of town on 103 Teen Drive has tree down from power line. It is on fire, and that's in the Arcoma area. I've also got a report. This is Pittsburgh County, Oklahoma. Hopefully this isn't what we see here. This is closer to McAllister. You've got several vehicles stranded in high water, numerous roads flooded, heavy rainfall. Again, that's McAllister. That's what they saw. That's what we're seeing. So as we go through time, I think that's what we're going to. Now, good and bad. At night, you don't have as many people on the roads. Bad part about that is you can't see the flash flooding if you're driving out in it. You'll end up driving right into the stuff. Be very, 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 very careful tonight if you're doing any kind of traveling in this. The worst of the storms may slowly be pulling away from the area. The flood threat's going to go for a while. As a matter of fact, let me look here and see these flash flood warnings. The one in Washington County is going to go until, let's see, that's going to go until 1:15 a.m. National Weather Service estimating Washington County's already seen about 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. That's kind of on par with what we've seen so far. River Valley area, let me check you guys out real quick. Rainfall rates in excess of 2 inches an hour. Right now they're looking at 1.5 to 2 inches an hour in this area too. So it's going to be, the estimate was about 1 to 2 inches of rain. All these totals are coming in on the high end. It's going to be over 2 for most of us, some of us probably more than that. And if we start pushing 3 inches over areas that were super soaked last time, boy, you got problems now, because then you're going to be looking at more flash flooding that's going to occur out of this. This is a big setup. I want to talk to our friends in Clarksville right now because that wind's going to be moving into you guys and give you guys an update on what's happening here. The strongest wind speeds now with this storm are moving right into Clarksville here from west to east. There's Coal Hill. Here's Clarksville. There's Scranton back down to the south. Let's see what the wind's doing in your neighborhood where you guys live. This is a look at the wind speeds. You can see it moving eastward. We've got some surges of wind here. I'm seeing the 2 areas that are the strongest stretching from Scranton back to Coal Hill. Again, this is not the magnitude like what we saw in Van Buren earlier or Fort Smith. I'm also seeing out towards west of Clarksville. You got 2 areas here. These are all moving east. And you have that big line that's moving right through the Clarksville area. So this region here is getting winds probably about 60 miles an hour. There'll be pockets that are greater. Down trees and power lines are going to be likely with this coming into Clarksville. Again, west to east with this, and you can see more of a linear north to south instead of a big bow shape. Another note to watch is this little thing here. Occasionally you get those little spin ups. Let's look and see if this thing is consistent or not. I'm watching this on the last couple of frames. Yeah, this actually is consistent. So there may actually be some kind of low level spin going on right there. Let's look at that a little bit closer. This is north of Clarksville. This is going to be up towards just north of Hillcrest, north of Lake Ludwig, west of 21. There's just a little bit of a spin here. It looks like it's over County Road 4501 now, right over 21. So just keep that in mind. It's not much of one, but these things can go from not real bad to real bad real quick. Speaking of, we also have some strong winds here that just showed up on that last scan just east of Batson. So we may be getting some of these winds too that are being pulled down from the middle of the atmosphere down to the surface too. And that could be happening here southeast of Batson and just north of Clarksville. So that also could be an issue for us as these wind speeds move on through. Let me show you again what it looks like here. This is east of 23. This is a very rural area. It's tough to, these white pixels though are probably close to about 70 miles an hour or greater. So thankfully, it's in the National Forest, but if you live out in the National Forest, you want to know what's going on out in your neighborhood, too. This is east of 103, southwest of Ferris Springs, in central Johnson County. This is our big wall of wind that's been moving through. I see that little area of rotation there. I can also see one here in southeast Madison County. So let's look at this one again, too. And these are just little small pockets. There's a closer look at it here. You're looking at it south of Boston, and that's going to be moving northeast. That's going to get into Newton County here shortly. So go ahead, Michelle. Okay, go ahead. We've got, I think you've got that loaded, so you can go ahead and pull it out.
Sorry, this is muted. It's actually a video of a tree on a house in Mudrow, Oklahoma. Muldrow. Yes, sorry. just
Yeah,
said
so
that
you've got a tree on a home here. I'm trying to
wrong.
see
And if
where
you
this
can see
is.
it right there, you can see it's on the house.
Yeah.
That's the one that we were talking about earlier. And isn't that the one we were talking about earlier? That
It may
that
have been.
somebody was trapped inside, because that's the only report we've gotten so far is a tree on the house with somebody trapped.
Let's see.
That may not be. That may be another one.
Going to be a lot of trees down just because it's just a bad setup because of the heavy rain last week. The heavy rain last week is really what caused a lot of these trees to be pulled out of the ground today. Keep in mind too, we've had a green up. I mean, the last 3 weeks or so, you've had all the everything's green, right? I mean, look at our pollen. The leaves have a lot of surface area. So when the wind blows on it, it's easier to knock everything over, and especially easier to pull it out of the ground when the ground's soaking wet. New warnings just lighten up now. This is going to go for Logan County out to Pope County. We can go to Drive 5. Where's Drive 5 going to be? Fort Smith, Rogers? Yeah, I'm going to get out of the way. Let's just see what this stuff looks like for ground truth. I know it's going to take a second for y'all to pull it up there. So this is looking at Rogers. This is going to be headed westbound.
Yeah, this is on Rogers Avenue going
Yep.
toward 540.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to see as.
Okay. He's
as-
going to go to the Van Buren courthouse in just a bit, but he's got a little bit to go. He's just right there at the just about the top of the hill on Rogers Avenue. Going to get on 540 here in just a little bit.
We can stay with this here for a second. I think you're going to see some damage on the screen. And just so you guys know, I'm looking at off camera too at a couple of different things. We can watch the Drive 5 here and see the damage as we get to it live. You guys can watch it with us live here. Off camera, I'm looking at some stronger winds that are just north of Waldron. Nothing of like what we saw earlier. Most of this has died down in intensity with the exception of North Johnson County and southeastern Madison County. We have a kind of a hodgepodge of these warnings going on. I mean, there's so many yellow boxes on my screen, it's difficult to see exactly what it is here. It looks like they're going to go by way of...
Yeah, he's going to take the long way to get there. He's going to go down to, hopefully go downtown and then cut up Midland into Van Buren.
Yeah, that would be the best thing to do. Obviously, we've had power outages in the Fort Smith area. You can see the stoplights here flashing red. Looks like on the right side you've got some. Looks like buildings are all dark there, so that could be some power outages there on the north side of Rogers Avenue. Yeah, I'm curious to. Just curious to see when we get to the damage here. It'll be interesting to see. I guess if you're going to go this way, you're probably going to. We're going to run into some damage at some point. Now, this is Rogers Avenue. We know there's damage on Kelly let's see, it was Kelly Highway, I think, earlier? I think it was, that we had some damage on it as well. I haven't heard any reports of any damage on Grand Avenue. There may very well have been some. I mentioned
It looks like the power's out where he's headed
Yeah.
to because the lights are blinking. So that, what was it, Erica, 10,000 people in Fort Smith?
In Fort Smith, yes, we're sitting at roughly 10,000.
10,000.
1,400 across the River Valley area, more than 20,000 without power right now.
All right, more than 20,000 in the River Valley right now. Amazing. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of power outages all over the area from this. This is going to be, it's going to take a while to clean this up. Unfortunately, the rain's still falling too, and you'll notice as he gets into places, depending on whatever way our photographer's going, when you get down towards Creekmore, you know, a lot of those creeks and streams fill up really, really quick and can cause flash flooding. There's Central Mall there on the right. Looks like they've got power, so intermittent power from here to there. Another thing you can do too, and I mentioned this earlier, that if you've downloaded the 5 News app, you've probably, if you lost power, you might be watching us on the app. You can click at the very top. That's where we've been broadcasting. Of course, you might be watching us on the Facebook as well. I'm sure there's lovely comments there. You can also upload video and images by going to the Near Me. It's like at the bottom right. Once you click on that, you can click Share with Us, and then there's a little thing where you can upload video of where you are, where it was taken. It'll actually locate it here on a map for us. That actually goes right over to the newsroom, so they can pull that up and they can get those images.
This is also wind damage that was sent in from somebody.
Yeah, those trampolines, man, those things are wings when that wind hits them. Not only that, but look at all the tree branches that are pushed up against the side of that metal railing and that fence there. That trampoline went airborne and it flew through the air. Kids are going to be upset. That's happened to me at least once. But those trampolines just get tossed around really, really easily. It's probably not the only one we're going to see out of this thing. So yeah, just going back to the app, another thing too, you can also get the weather alerts on the app. Just sign up for notifications, and you can choose to get statements, watches, warning. You can get all of them, or you can just get warnings. And the way it works is you put in your location. So if you only want warnings for Fort Smith, that's all you got. If you only want warnings for Fayetteville, that's all you got too. So we've been those go out automatically. The severe weather threat is still there. There's one area I want to show you real quick. And this is west of Waldron. I'm seeing a pocket of wind that's pretty strong here. So let me get to this real quick. And of course, as you guys see more images and more pictures as they come into us, we'll take a look at that. Let's see if I can get this going here. Try to get a better look at this a little closer. Hey, Michelle, am I in play mode on this?
Yes.
Okay.
No, you weren't actually.
Okay.
There you are.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I'm looking into western Scott County here. And I'll get this going so we can, there we go. Right in here is where I'm watching. That's going to be Central Scott. It doesn't look like much on radar, does it? It's kind of blah. But watch this on velocity. This is out towards Oliver. On velocity, this looks a little more impressive. Look at this right in here. Look at these bright greens and even bright red. There's a lot of wind going on with this thing here. And this is just north of Blancett and west of Waldron. And this is headed, I think, more north than east. Yeah, it's moving more north. Don't see any rotation on that for now. What I am seeing that kind of bothers me a little bit, if you look to the north, watch how this line, right here, see this? This is an outflow boundary. So these outflow boundaries have, in themselves, have a lot of spinning. It's just kind of like a little tube rolling around, right? And so when you get these storms interacting with these outflow boundaries, the storms can pick up the tube, and then now you got tube doing this. So then you start getting tornadoes that fall out of these things. So I'm a little worried about this here because you've got an outflow boundary collision and you've got some bright colors starting to show up on radar. So I'm going to watch this one real close. I think that if we start to see this intensify, we could be looking at potentially some more rotation or at least another wind damage event here in central Scott County. Just right now, this is going to go west of Waldron. Storms are hitting Waldron. We had that big wind that came through earlier, but I'm seeing the stronger winds here just northwest of Waldron. That's tracking towards the north and towards the northeast.
They have a new severe thunderstorm warning for Logan County.
Logan County now under severe thunderstorm warning. All right, look at this. Yeah, this is going to cause wind damage. I bet we get new warnings. We're all under warnings out of this. Warnings here, they're everywhere. But I think we'll probably get another one here just based on this cell here. And that does have at least some potential for wind damage. Because it's moving, see the outflow boundary that moved through? Because it's moving over that outflow boundary, I think the tornado potential is not going to be very high with it, though. The cool air, tornadoes hate cool air at the surface. So it's probably not going to be anything that that causes a tornado. Can't rule it out, obviously. But you can certainly see the spin and the rotation here on the last frame right there. So that's something to keep a close eye on. Y'all have any new information? I know there's a lot that's coming into the Crawford County Courthouse new photo. You guys can go with that if you've got it. There you go.
I can pull up the one that Darren sent me.
Yeah, I actually found got another one sent that shows a little bit better the damage out on the east or the west part of Crawford County Courthouse. But I'm also getting a bunch of pictures of my old neighborhood where a tree has been blown over away from a house, thankfully. So we're working on getting that put up. But there's a number of trees down. In North Fort Smith and the central part of Fort Smith, also in Van Buren up 59 Highway. A lot of fences blown over, some storage buildings outdoors have been blown over, okay. And so we're working to get those pictures as best we can, as fast as we can.
And of course, another thing too, our morning newscast starts at 4:30. Sorry, I muted for a second there. Our morning newscast starts at 4:30 coming up tomorrow morning, and we've got crews out tonight. We're going to have all kinds of folks who are out here through the overnight, gathering images, getting interviews, getting video of what happened, talking to folks, finding out, hey, what happened when this storm came through where you live? What does your neighborhood look like? If we come up to you, you can share your story, or you can share your story, like I said earlier, by the app as well. All right, so let's see here. The good news with all this is, I think the intensity, with the exception of that one that's in Scott County, there's also a little bit of gusty winds out towards Hartford too. Clarksville looks like we've had. This is remember we were talking about 103 in Johnson County. We had a tree blown down and it's blocking Highway 103 in Johnson County. That's 5 miles north. That's coming in from emergency management in Johnson County. So 5 north of Clarksville, you got a tree down on 103 blocking the road. Ozone, gusty winds. I know we've got a lot of warnings, and these warnings ride till like 11:15, 11:30. But overall, I'm seeing the wind speeds really come down. Matter of fact, in Oklahoma, well, there's one severe thunderstorm warning. Looks like there's one random warning north of Oklahoma City. It seems like there always is out there. We've got some warnings in Texas too, but there aren't any warnings between Fort Smith and Oklahoma City. So the wind speed should start coming down on this thing, hopefully sooner than later. Back out of this a little bit more here, kind of give you a wider view. That makes a little bit more sense. So there's the wide view of the storms that are moving through. It's interesting when you look out to the west, though, because the back edge of this is going to take a while to clear. You've got severe thunderstorm here. Look at this one just moving north. This was probably a north split. Sometimes these storms will break in half. The north one throws out a lot of hail. The east one starts spinning. That's probably what that one was. But for the most part, the intensity should start to fade and really should start coming down this evening. There's the wind, the initial surge moving east, head into eastern Johnson County now, north Logan County. We've had a lot of noise in Logan County. We finally caught a break from some of the worst of the storm. We probably have some trees down, though, in Logan County. You can see some of the heavy rain picking up from Shoal Creek out through Paris and Booneville. Between Paris and Booneville, too, we're looking at that. That's moving off to the north. Here's a closer look at it. This is moving more north, though. See how these storms are just kind of climbing up north? They're not punching and surging out. So the wind damage risk is way less with this. Take you out to another wide view here. And again, this is our main surge. This was our main event. We're coming up on, we're just past 11 o'clock now, actually. We went on the air around 9:30 before any of the tornado warnings were issued. And you can see how fast things have changed here. In just about an hour and a half, this whole thing just ripped through the area. Just looking at the back edge of this, trying to get a feel for how fast this rain falls. Look at this rain. On I-44, it's nearly stationary. I'm glad this band didn't set up over here. That would have been a really bad deal. We're still getting a lot of rain here over that really rain-soaked area, but this to me looks like the area where we're getting some of the heaviest, and that's going to miss us just to the north, thank goodness. The lightning really tells the bigger story here of where the strongest storms are. We'll hear rumbles all night tonight, but the worst of it's over with for Fayetteville and Fort Smith. We're not going to be getting any more wind like what we saw. We're not going to get any more tornado warnings like what we saw earlier. We still have severe thunderstorm warnings, but these are going to be expiring soon. A lot of these are going to fall apart here in the next 45 minutes to an hour, sometimes less than that. Looks like our friends in Little Rock just lit up that area in Scott County we were looking at. Let's look. Okay, so they went ahead and let that tornado watch expire. That was in eastern Oklahoma, and they'll probably start trimming back this severe thunderstorm watch as well. We are under warning in Waldron. Let's zoom on in and show you guys. Look at all the lightning strikes. Good grief. I mean, it probably looks like a strobe light machine looking out the window in Waldron. We zoom in a little bit closer here. Here's 71. There's Danville Road, Featherston, Washington Street. Here's Manor Crest, Sandy Lane, Crumptown Road, Wright Road. This whole area here is under a severe thunderstorm warning with a lot of heavy rainfall. And let me look at the wind real quick. I don't think that the wind is. Yeah, we've got some strong. The wind's actually stronger. It looks like out towards Parks right there. Moving east. The wind speeds don't look as fierce as they did earlier. They're still going, though. Still some strong winds. Let me back out a little more here. You have some of those stronger winds southwest of Waldron and north of Mena. Those are all pulling towards the east. Back out a little more, and let's take it out a little bit more. There's the line of wind now exiting Johnson County into Pope County. So I think for the most part, our main wind event that we've been dealing with is starting to die down for us. still ongoing in Newton County, Pope County, getting up towards Marshall, Central and North Arkansas. They're actually under severe thunderstorm warnings till 4 in the morning. We're not going to have it that long as far as the warnings go. Our Drive 5, are we any closer to the damage?
I do have that picture of the Crawford County courthouse that Darren sent me.
Okay, you can, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Let me pull it up. Should be this one.
Drive 5 there is on the left side of the screen. Michelle's working on this. There's the one.
There's the one that Darren was sending.
Okay. That's just a different angle of the damage. It's that out there on the west lawn of the Crawford County Courthouse. And again, you really can't see anything up on the roof. As we had reported that there was some roof damage at the courthouse there in Van Buren, but we can't tell on this one. But you can still see all the debris that is spread out and all over the west part of the Crawford County Courthouse lawn there in downtown Van Buren.
Yeah, it'll be. I'm curious too if the other side, the east side, has anything on it, because that would tell us too whether or not it was wind damage or tornado damage that came through. And you probably look and think, come on, Lewis, how can that not be tornado damage? Well, believe it or not, some of these wind gusts were well over 80, maybe even 90 miles an hour. That's equal to a small tornado, only over a much larger area. So don't discount damaging winds and straight line winds. Straight line winds can be just as bad as a tornado, if not worse, because they're over a very, very, very large area where tornadoes are usually a lot more compact. This is extensive damage, though. This is bad damage here, and this is just the Crawford County Courthouse. We're just looking at one picture. We got historic Van Buren all the way down 64, where we've got all kinds of damage to deal with as well. These pictures will keep coming into us, and we'll keep bringing you those images here as we get them here at 5 News from all across the area.
I am working on bringing up more pictures. Just letting them right now in the system.
Okay. Michelle will be showing us some more pictures here shortly. I'm looking out to the east. I think out around Knoxville and Lamar. You guys have, see if I can get in there.
Oh, I gotta play it. Sorry.
Okay, got me in play mode now?
There you go.
There we go. Cool. Ooh, that's not where we want to go. Let's see if I can reset that. There we go. Okay. So we're going to take you into eastern Johnson County. I do see some winds here on I-40 between Lamar and Knoxville. Here's Clarksville. Let's get in a little tighter here. There we go. Here's Knoxville. Zoom on in a little more. Here's Bend. Here's London. This is right along, getting close to Pope County here. Let me stop this and go back to velocity images here. And it's going to make more sense if I zoom out, kind of give you an idea of where it is. There we go. So right in here looks to be some very strong winds just north of Knoxville. Some of this is what came through Clarksville earlier, that same line that moved through, but you can see some of the red intensity here is still festering here just north of Clarksville. East of Clarksville, north of Knoxville. Got the wrong Ville on that, but as we zoom on in, we can see where it is, and this one looks like it's going to be over Hickeytown Road. There's Lamar, so we have those wind speeds over 64 and 40, and of course, why not? It's over the town of Garrett as well. So we'll go back to another wide view here and pull up a big shot here of what's going on. Flash flood warnings for Fayetteville, Fort Smith, north of Floyd County. Right now, no flash flood warnings still for Benton County. Winds in Clarksville were reported by the public at 60 miles an hour. That's kind of what we expected to see. On a normal day, 60 miles an hour would be like good grief, right? But when you've had over 80 miles an hour, it's great that the intensity came down just a little bit before it hit U of O earlier. The Weather Service is watching some of the Madison County area for some stronger cores. Southeast Carroll County, wind potential, eastern Madison County, they're watching that too.
And apparently the power is out, according to meteorologist Dax Clark in Clarksville as well.
All right, so this is going to be out. Oh, that's the oak tree at the Fort Smith studios, right?
Say, do you recognize that building?
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to see there, but there was one oak tree in the front of the old studio.
Those are 100 years old, too, over 100 years old.
And it is now resting up against the building. That's not a very good shot of it, though, right there. The rain on his windshield is taking over, but you can't. There is a tree that's resting up against our old station building downtown Fort Smith.
Yeah, looks like the tree fell on. Those trees are old. The other one was taken out several years ago due to wind as well. Actually, I think it was started rotting in the middle, and they ended up cutting it down. they've got a severe thunderstorm warning. This is Carroll County. It's going to go till midnight or so. National Weather Service also saying that the storms are starting to lose intensity, which is good. Dax texted me some of his friends near the Clarksville area. They've got power out in Clarksville. They say lots of flooding. They've got shingles off of homes on Highway 21 just north of the Hagerville area. So meteorologist Dax Clark relaying that message to me just now. Again, looking at the image here, this is in the River Valley towards downtown Fort Smith. That's the studio in the Fort Smith area here. You can see the oak tree came down on that. Is this the only Drive 5 that we have in the River Valley right now? Yes? Okay. Okay. So is it possible to drive around more? Maybe see what else is out there? I think you're going to run into more damage. Okay. 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 We may watch it live too as we go around. I think you're seeing a lot of this stuff for the first time too. Guys, if you get damage, and like I said earlier, if it's safe to upload the pictures to us, use that Near Me feature on the app. It's easier than emailing it to me or anybody else. Then we got to forward it around to the newsroom, and they often get lost. But yeah, there you go. Look, there's the tree. It's blocking 13th Street. So now he's headed east, and you're going to run into more damage here, I feel like, as you continue to go through the downtown Fort Smith area. This is coming up on Grand Avenue now. So at the stoplight is Grand, running east and west. What you got, Darren?
Well, we're working on getting a picture of a tree limb that has gone through the wall of a house.
Wow, really?
And I'm going to have you look at this to see if
Here's
that's
a new
any
one
kind
too.
of indication. Of,
this one came from the control room. Guys, is that Fort? I guess that's Fort Smith. I can't tell where I'm looking at here.
Oh,
18th?
yeah, that's 18th Street.
Oh, okay,
in
yeah,
Rogers.
I know where we're at now.
Yeah. That's right there at 18th and Rogers. That building to the right used to be an old firehouse.
Yeah.
But it's right next to the Salon 15. It's right there at where it comes out in the V right there
Sure.
at 18th Street and Rogers.
So what, you've got some.
Well, we're trying to get that for you.
Yeah. If that fell, it depends on if that was like if the tree fell through it or if it was pushed through it.
Well, we're fitting to bring this thing up here in just a second. It was a house in Van Buren.
We've got
to show you here in just a second what we're talking about.
You've got a lot of damage. I mean, there's just so much damage. It's almost impossible to get to all this stuff that's moving through. I'm just looking through. Where's this? Franklin County out towards Vesta. Multiple reports: trees, power lines damaged in and around Ozark. I mean, just all kinds of damage across the area here. Most of the damage, it looks like in Ozark, is going to be minor damage. Again, that's all comparative, though, right? I mean, a normal storm, when you start getting trees and power lines, it is a big deal. If you don't have power for like a day or so, it's a huge deal. But when you get a tornado going through a place like Van Buren, it's an even bigger problem. And we've just got a lot of damage. And it just sucks that it's raining all night, because it's going to be really hard to get outside of the house and really kind of assess the damage, especially if you've got a leaky roof too, because this rain's going to probably keep going for another 2 or 3 hours. Grand Avenue, look at that. Looks like that was one of the signs that was blown out there on Grand Avenue, one of those Lamar billboards that are out there. Again, surface area is a big deal. A big sign like that has a lot of, it's big, it's flat, it's huge, it gets that wind, it catches all the wind. You know how it is, it's like opening an umbrella on a windy day. You turn to Mary Poppins, you end up blowing away from that stuff, right?
The one thing we're looking at here, if you noticed, he's on Midland, and there's not a street light on.
No, it's dark as can be. Yeah, this is where, go ahead in the control room. That sounds great. Okay, so we're headed down Midland. Now, this is what I wanted to see earlier. So, and Darren, you can jump in, Erica, Michelle, anytime you want.
Yeah, I did put some pictures up for you. There's 2 new pictures sent in. This is the one that Darren was talking about.
Oh, yeah, let's check out these pictures real quick. And so this is in the Van Buren area. And it looks like you've had at least some kind of tree branch pushed through a house. Now, whether or not it was a tree that fell on the house and you're just kind of looking at a branch that jutted through and there's more of a tree up on the roof, I don't know. Was it a tree branch that was thrown from a tornado through the house? I don't know. It could have been. It was in Van Buren under the tornado warning, and it's possible. These projectiles go flying like crazy in tornadoes and in very high wind situations. And this is why I say you got to get away from the window. Thankfully, the wall was there. The studs were there. You got some insulation. It slowed it down. That thing wasn't going to stop if it hit the window. It's just a little teeny area of glass. That thing would have come flying through.
Do we have that one on South 24th?
There's
in
this
Fort
one.
Smith?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now that one is in the old stomping ground, and that thankfully it blew away from that house.
Oh, I see it now. It's a tree right here.
It's a tree that was in their front yard, and it blew out toward the street. Thankfully, it blew out toward their street.
And you can see how the ground was saturated. Pulled it up by the roots here and just knocked it on over. These little symbols here, we're using our severe weather show. If you're wondering, oh, what's that doing? Well, that's what it is. That's South 24th Street. You can go back over to Drive 5. Let's look at Midland. We're getting into the heart of the damage. New warnings coming up. This is out of our area now. This is Pope County getting out towards Conway. I don't want to call it over, but the severe threat's mostly over. I don't think we're going to get any more tornado warnings or severe thunderstorm warnings. It is what it is. That big line came through, and that's it. Could we have some kind of random severe warning? Sure. But it's going to be based on wind damage that's not nearly as strong as what we saw earlier, and it's not going to produce a tornado. The atmosphere's turned over. Tornadoes have got to have that warm air at the surface. Temperatures out there are a lot cooler than they were. It's just simply because of the rainfall that's out there. We do have some warnings. It's still storming pretty good in Waldron, still storming good in Boonville and Paris, out towards Scranton, Clarksville. We've got power outages as well. It's hard to hit everybody because everybody seems like they've lost power tonight from about the Topper Tunnel south. But northward, we have sporadic damage in the Fayetteville area. It's not widespread. I haven't had any reports in Madison County that I've seen. So if you have any of those, you can send those to us. There is that warning in Madison County that's going to go till 11:45 on this little guy here on the east side of Madison County. Go ahead and pull up Drive 5 if you guys still have it. What's the time? 11:15 now? So coming up 45 minutes to midnight. Where are we? We are on, there's Albert Pike. We are headed still, I believe, still down Midland. He's going to Grand. We should go, can we go to Midland?
Yeah, we need to get over to Van Buren.
We need to turn the car around. Midland Bridge, over the bridge.
There's not going to be much damage.
There's not going to be damage here.
Now. He
You're
needs
going
to
the
get
wrong
over
way.
Yeah, he's going the wrong way.
You know, you can. In here? Okay. Oh, okay. We've got a crew on the scene. Or, oh, okay. Wow.
This is from Christy Sanchez on North 28th Street in Van Buren. You can see that tree fell on that house, and she said she took that picture right as the lightning struck. That's why it looks like daylight.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I was like, my goodness. Christy Sanchez sending that in from Van Buren. Tree on a house here. Boy, those chainsaws are going to be humming tomorrow. We've got trees all over the place. I'm told we have a crew in Van Buren. We're about 5 minutes out from that live shot. You guys can stay with us. It's going to be close to about 11:20. They're at the Van Buren Courthouse, right? Downtown, historic Van Buren?
Correct.
Awesome. I can't wait to hear from Jo Ellison. She's got a good handle on the region like I do. She grew up in this area too. So she's hopefully seen and been able to tell us exactly what she saw as she came in. Reiterating the severe threat, most of it's moving out of the area. There's a new warning. This is out there, eastern Carroll County. This is heading out into, that's south of Branson. That's no factor for us. I still think we're going to get more warnings that are coming in for Benton County here in a little bit. For flash flood warnings, I don't think we're going to get more severe thunderstorm warnings. They're going to continue the warning here in Scott County here based on wind speeds at 60 miles an hour. 60 is nothing to play around with. It's going to uproot trees. It'll knock the power out. It won't do what we had earlier, though, out over the Van Buren area. Did we bang a U-turn on Grand on the Drive 5 maybe? Okay. All right, so all this rainfall, man, what a storm, guys. There's going to be so much to clean up out of this thing.
Here, Garrett, I'll give you this update. The city of Alma, Arkansas, posting on Facebook tonight saying that they've experienced substantial damage throughout the city of Alma. They're asking people to shelter in place and stay off the roads unless you absolutely have to be out. If you are on the road, signal lights throughout the city are not working. Treat every intersection like a four-way stop. Best thing to do is stay indoors and off the roads. Emergency personnel are working as quickly as possible. Highway 162 east of Spring is closed. That's all happening in Alma.
162 east of, which one?
East of Spring.
Spring, okay. We're watching the camera as it comes through that area, and hopefully we'll have some information here shortly from Van Buren. I think we're going to find that damage all over Van Buren, North Fort Smith, Roland, Muldrow, you name it. It's going to be all over the place.
Yeah, I'm still getting reports that there is significant roof damage at the Crawford County Courthouse, and hopefully Joe will be able to will confirm that as soon as we get to her here in just a few minutes. But I'm hearing from several different people that that there is significant roof damage there at the courthouse. Looks like he's on what, 540 and going past Kelly Highway right now, so he'll be get over to Van Buren here in just a little bit.
And we should get an idea of what it looks like there. What bridge? Where are we at, Darren?
He's just going by Kelly Highway.
Okay.
So
okay.
the next he'll be crossing over the bridge, the Arkansas River Bridge here in and the 540 bridge here in just a bit, and then he'll be able to get over to the courthouse. But if Joe is there, we'll be getting to her hopefully a little quicker.
And as you can imagine, Crawford County Emergency Management posting on Facebook just here in the last. Crawford County Emergency Management posting on Facebook here in the last minute or so, just saying there's extensive damage throughout the county. Do not get out and clog the streets unless it is an emergency.
And we're also hearing that downtown Van Buren has some minor damage, but the courthouse did get pretty hard, or get hit pretty hard. So we'll hopefully hear from Joe here in just a little bit.
I'm messaging the National Weather Service just real quick. They've been doing a lot of work tonight. Got just a lot of damage. Got some damage coming in from Roland as well. Muldrow.
So what's the process with this? They're going to go out and check this in the morning tomorrow to make sure that this was either straight line or was it a tornado that hit?
It may take them some time, honestly, to do it because there's so much straight line wind damage. I think the majority of this is going to be straight line wind damage, and it's going to be hard for a lot of people to believe that wind can actually, just straight line winds can do this. But as Michelle and I were watching this come out of Stigler and Haskell and Latimer County, there were 3 areas of wind that started merging, and that started happening about 9:15 or so this evening. It was before they even got into Fort Smith, before it even got into our area. It was right there in western LaFleur County. And then you saw the winds just start to pick up and just take off. I mean, they were just hauling. It was about 9:15, 9:30 when I started messaging our news director and said, hey, this is about to blow through Fort Smith. We can get on TV. So we jumped on shortly before then. I was checking in with Mom. She was out of town. She wasn't in Alma tonight. But she's got trees down up and down the road, too, in between Alma and Van Buren. So there's been extensive damage just about everywhere on either side of 64 and 40. This corridor here, in fact, I can zoom in on it. All right, well, let's just watch this. Let's stick with this. This is going to be much better video. You guys are seeing it live as we are.
He's going to get off. He's getting off on the 59 exit right now, and then head on over up to the courthouse here in just a few minutes.
And as he's heading this way, we are getting reports of trees down and some pretty significant damage across the state line over in Roland as well. So obviously that same storm that moved through on the Oklahoma side and headed toward Van Buren impacting Oklahoma as well.
Yeah. Did you get that report from, was that a Weather Service report you just had, Erica?
No, this is photos from a viewer's front yard.
I actually, the same time you mentioned that, I have a report too from the Weather Service also talking about Roland Muldrow, extensive tree damage. 1 tree fell on a home, trapping 1 person inside. We've got Joe Ellison. She's live on the scene. It's been a wild night. Joe, you've been in the River Valley as this thing moved through. I hear you're in downtown Van Buren. Walk us through what in the world happened, what you saw, and what you're seeing now.
Yeah, you know, we're right here, Garrett, at the Crawford County Courthouse. So this is, of course, on 4th and Webster. Take a look at the damage behind me. Luke, give them a shot of the damage here. All of this debris that you're seeing right here, the county judge says is the roof from the actual courthouse. Now, he says along the top, the flat roof, it came off. The bell tower up there as well, roof damage as well. Luke, let's step right up here just for a second and show them. Now this damage, it extends pretty far, all the way across the courthouse lawn. There's roof, there's debris, a lot of damage. The county judge says that he will close the courthouse tomorrow because look, Luke, give them a shot over here at the courthouse, this damage. Whenever the damage happened to the roof up there, the County judge says a lot of water actually made it inside of the courthouse, so there is water damage inside the courthouse right now. Emergency crews, they are assessing the damage just to see how extensive this is, but you can see all of this debris right here laying on the lawn of the Crawford County Courthouse. Now, that is the roof. That's metal from the roof, shingles, some foam as well, a lot of trees down here, some lines putting power to the courthouse. That actually is laying across the ground as well, and even around the courthouse here. There's a lot of damage, a lot of trees down on the ground, a little bit of flooding on some of these streets, which is pretty normal here in this area. But again, this is the Crawford County Courthouse. A lot of debris in this area. The Crawford County judge says there is water inside of this courthouse. Some extensive damage in there. They're going to wrap it up tonight, come back tomorrow, shut the courthouse down, and have a better look in the daytime just to see how extensive this is. But again, this damage here at the courthouse, this is the roof that came off of the Crawford County Courthouse, laying all over this area. Crews right now are trying to just keep people away. Back to you.
Thanks, Joe. I'm not sure if Joe can hear me. If she can, or if you guys can relay it to, I'm just curious what was it like when she drove. Joe, if you can hear me, what was it like driving to the courthouse? Were you able to get down historic downtown Van Buren? Were there power lines ever? What did it look like?
You know, not a lot of power lines down, but Garrett, I'll tell you, around this area, you have to be careful driving because the winds that came through here, the damage that was caused, there is a lot of debris laying across the roadways, like up Logtown Hill. There's some debris laying there as well. Emergency crews are just trying to get out right now and sort of move things out of the way. I've been seeing cars, drive over broken tree limbs. That's not good for your car. It could be dangerous. There is some water in those low-lying areas as well, starting to flood a little bit, so some people are sort of driving through that. Some power outages, so they're not able to see it, driving right through it. So if you're going to be down to this area, you should probably avoid it. But if you have to drive down here, just be careful for the debris that you may run over while you're out there.
Yeah, I'm wondering too, you said you came down Logtown Hill. What did it look like? Did you go through Pointer Trail? Because it looked like that wind damage was right there along Pointer Trail too. And we may have had, I'm just asking about Pointer Trail. I know the rain's been really loud. We had that semi blow over on I-40. What did it look like around Pointer Trail in that area?
I haven't actually been up to Pointer Trail yet, but I spoke with the emergency manager a little bit ago, telling me about that semi flipped over, that people need to avoid that area. And again, Garrett, it's just a lot of debris. Of course, you see, look, give them one more shot of this, the courthouse, all the debris here. This is what some of the, areas look like. Now, of course, this is the worst spot right now that the emergency manager is telling us, Garrett, but they are out there right now, just getting out there, trying to assess everything to see, what areas are affected the most.
All right, thanks so much. Joe Ellison live downtown Van Buren, the historic Crawford County Courthouse losing its roof tonight with the severe storms, water in the building. The courthouse closed tomorrow as they assess the damage from this and begin the cleanup efforts. Unfortunately, though, I think it's going to take a while before that rain stops. I think this rain continues tonight, and unfortunately tomorrow morning we're also going to be dealing with some lingering showers as well. Looks like we are... Is that going Main Street Van Buren? It actually looks clearer than I thought it would look, just given what it looked like at the courthouse. This is Main Street Van Buren now. And it looks like the traffic signals are working here in this area. There's the train depot there on the right.
Yeah, they said there wasn't a lot of damage along Main Street except for the courthouse itself. Now, where he's heading is up Logtown Hill.
Yeah.
And once he gets down there toward, once he starts back down the hill toward Interstate 40 and up 59 highway to the north of Interstate 40 is where he might start seeing some,
look at the debris.
Damage
yeah,
there.
look at that.
Yeah, right there.
You've got all kinds of trees down in this area. That's headed up Logtown Hill. And remember that the strongest wind speeds weren't necessarily on the east side of Van Buren
there's
here.
Tree limbs down everywhere there now.
Yeah, and it's tough to tell. The power lines look like they're up, but there's a vehicle in front. Looks like we got some guys here that are trying to...
They may be trying to block traffic, or maybe a tree limb up there.
It could be, or power line even.
You got power line down, yeah.
Stay away from those power lines for sure. The strongest winds pass just to the left of this over Vista Hills, so I think there's probably more extensive damage when you get just to the left of this shot. And obviously, well, anywhere else up and down 64 and 40. You're headed up Logtown Hill there. You've got the cemetery there on the right. You're coming up towards the top of it. here in a
Now
second.
you got traffic in the, there's something blocking the
Yeah.
road going up Logtown Hill right there. Yeah, they're going to make him turn off there because
Looks
there's
like they
something.
detoured it. And you can see there's some law enforcement lights, some blue lights flashing
That's
too.
a tree across the road right
Yeah,
there.
it sure
See
is.
it right there?
Yep.
Yeah, right in front of that red truck. There is a tree blocking the road. Yeah, that's why they've got that blocked off. And of course, there's no lights on or
Nope.
anything through there.
And this is just one area too. It's representative though of what everything looks like where this huge swath of wind came through with gusts approaching 80 or 90 miles an hour in some cases. Obviously enough to cause widespread wind damage, tree damage, structural damage with roofs. Yeah, it's like a mess here with all the traffic out here. Another tree down there. I mean, is that the same one? I think we are. Yeah, we're back out the intersection. So, okay, Logtown Hill is going to be left, so he's going to have to go back down the hill or find another way around it.
Or just go right across the street.
You can do that too.
Well, look at all the debris though on the road
Yeah.
right there even. Yeah.
If you're headed, if you're walking out of the house or you're trying to assess some damage, see what it looks like where you live.
Oh yeah.
And there's another one. I
tree
mean,
blocking the
good
road.
grief. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't go. It's like a maze. This is just one part of Van Buren, and it kind of looks like to the right there could be some power lines down too. See the hanging there?
Speaking
Yeah.
of that, Garrett,
Stay away
Van
from that
Buren
stuff.
police just posted saying that they're having issues with people driving and walking around neighborhoods where they're doing work to try to clear the roads and help people. And they're saying power lines are down, causing extreme safety risks. So asking people to stay home unless it's absolutely necessary. You can call 911 if you need emergency help, and they will answer those calls, but to stay off the road because of that risk of power lines being down.
Yeah, and not only that, you have the power lines down. You think, oh, well, it's just a power line. I'm not going to touch it, right? Well, the ground's soaking wet, and you got an inch of water on the ground. If the power line's touching the ground, you step a foot out of your car, it's not going to end well. So don't get out into this stuff. Don't be out driving around. There's going to be plenty of time to do that in the days that follow. If you want to help your friends and neighbors clean up, I'm sure there's going to be many organizations that have the chainsaws ready to go that are going to help to clean up in the aftermath of this. And if you're without power and you step out of your home and you look around, you see power lines, even if everybody in the neighborhood's without power, still treat those things like they're live. These power lines can cause, obviously, death if you touch them and you get zapped by them. But there are a lot of power lines down. There's trees down. We've got a lot of issues all over. This is just Van Buren. I mean, the Alma looks like this. Kibler probably looks like this. Southwest Van Buren out towards Arena Road probably looks like this. Dyer.
We have almost 2,200 people in Elma without power. Van Buren is at more than 3,000. The Fort Smith area specifically has almost 13,000 without power, almost 25,000 across the River Valley region. So those power outages continue to go up as the damage continues to roll in here.
Looks like he's going by Butterfield Junior
Yeah,
High.
I was trying to get a bearing on where he was.
Yeah, there's just debris.
It's
Look at the
everywhere.
debris everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, the cities across the area are going to have to organize some kind of a pickup for this in the weeks to follow because of all the debris that's out there. This isn't something you can just throw in the pickup and head out to the transfer station and get rid of it. There's so much tree limbs that are down.
So this is indicative of straight line winds?
It could be. It could very well be straight line winds. It may have been a small tornado. It's just tough to tell with these images at night. The rotation actually didn't pass over this area. It was more, trying to think if back when we were covering it, it looked like, yeah, it may have. It moved over Riggs Drive to the northeast up towards Cloverleaf. So it may have been tornado. Again, you guys are watching this live with us for the first time, seeing some of this damage that came through, just seeing extensive tree damage out of this stuff.
I think he's getting close to the what is it, that park, that's where the Christmas stuff is. Oh, it is, okay.
And I think he's trying to do a big loop, getting around Logtown Road. I don't think it's going to happen, though. Yeah. I think as you get farther, you're not going to be able to get up the hill. Those trees too, and Darren, you know this. Those trees are old.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they're
They've been
big
around
and they're
quite
old.
a while. Yeah, there's no doubt.
And there's another power line down right there in front of them.
Yeah, right there in front of it.
Yeah, it's dangerous out here this evening with these power lines down and all this water. Looks like you've got Arkansas AOGs out there too. I mean,
well, we had gotten one report, Erica, of a gas line or a gas smell in that area, so that may be what AOG is doing right now.
Just got a tip right now talking about a gas line broken on Just got a tip about that AOG working on a gas line at 12th and Deshard in Van Buren.
I think that's pretty close to that. I think he's pretty close to 12th Street right there in Van Buren. And there's no power anywhere along through there. That's the whole area right there is without power. Of course, all the power lines are down across in that area, so that whole area is not going to have any power for a while.
Did he make it back on Logtown Hill?
I think he's heading back that way.
Poplar?
Yeah, it's on Poplar. There was a tree on a house not too far off Poplar at, I forgot the name of the street that was on earlier tonight. William Penn, yes, on William Penn, not far from where he is, there was a tree on a house, and I don't think anybody was injured there.
There's a couple new pictures I have for you, Garrett, if you want to show
Yeah, let's go ahead and bring him up.
One of them is from Alma, from Mary Clark. This is a tree fell into her house.
Man. And so you've got the tree coming right through the roof there.
And then there's actually one more of another tree falling onto a house in Van Buren.
Golly. And just like Darren and I were talking about, these trees are old trees. I mean, some of these trees.
And you may think they're deeply rooted, but when we've had this much rain and that kind of wind, and the leaves on the trees, that's just a big old sail is what that is.
Plucks it out of the ground like a carrot almost. I mean, you've got so much wind force on that and saturated ground. You have two of the worst conditions. The worst thing that happened was all the rainfall last week because it just caused the ground to be super saturated to the point where it didn't take much wind to just rip these things out of the ground. Do we have any more, Michelle, or just those two?
I'm working on the other ones.
Okay. We'll get the other ones to you just as soon as we can.
I have some photos here that I'm working on getting into the system for you as well. But on North 22nd Street, there's also some tree branches that busted through windows and also have trees blocking their home near Maple and Birch Streets. So some damage in that area as well.
All right, we're bringing Drive 5 back up. We got another big tree down here.
Looks like it was off to the left right there.
Yeah, there's debris everywhere from this. I mean, there's wind damage, there's debris, there's power lines. I think just since we've been watching Drive 5, I think I've seen 3 of them, 3 power lines that are down.
There it is.
And there's only a certain number of folks with OG&E in this area that can get out here and start turning these things off. And when you've got trees down everywhere, man, help them do their job. Stay inside and get away from these power lines till they can get out there and turn these things off and eventually get power restored. As extensive as the power outages are, though, I don't think many of you are going to have power tonight, and some of you are not going to have power tomorrow, and it may be the day after tomorrow, just as extensive as this stuff is. I mean, you're looking at limbs down all over the place here, and big trees that have been pulled down that are going to be there's a power line there on the left side of the screen. Right there, just all over. Is that a power pole even? I think it is.
Yeah, it looks like that.
Yeah.
Looks like that may be a piece of one right there.
Yeah, I think so. It looks like it was snapped, or the tree brought it down. That's 12th and Poplar.
Okay. Yeah.
And the power line runs, it's on the ground just to the left there. Yeah, I don't like this at all. We might try to find another route for our Drive 5 to get. Obviously, I mean, if we're out here and we're media and we're trying to show you guys what's happening and we can't go 3 streets, you guys aren't going to be able to go anywhere. Look at the power lines right there. It's on the left side of the shot. I'm trying to turn around and avoid it there. Yep, there it is. Don't want to hit it.
And so what we're seeing here in Van Buren, as you mentioned, is pretty much what we're seeing in Alma as well, and a large part of Crawford County.
Yeah, and to that end, up towards Figure 5, north of Alma, Dean Springs, Rudy. I imagine Rudy, from Rudy out to Alma on 282 is probably going to look like this as well. It's just extensive wind damage. That swath of wind that came through the river valley was huge. It was 80 miles an hour in one direction, and north-south it was probably, I'm just guessing with this, probably about 25 miles north-south. And then it tracked from Roland and Muldrow all the way to about Ozark. that's a lot of real estate that got hit with this wind, and it was something else. It was fierce when it came through Roland, Muldrow, Arcoma, Fort Smith, went right through Alma, Van Buren on its way to Mulberry, Ozark, Clarksville. All of this has damage as this storm system came through. Looks like they've got a power crew that they were coming up on now. So I wanted to bring you back here just to a current setup of what we're looking at. If you mind real quick, Michelle, put me back in play mode here. I'll give you a wide view. And in the control room, I believe we can start wrapping things up for the time being and reset until tomorrow morning. Let me put this in motion again and show you what's going on, maybe. Let's get this thing looping for us. Maybe it's the next frame. There we go. So let me zoom out here. Here's a wide view of the storms. There's a couple of random severe thunderstorm warnings in central Oklahoma. You got one in southwest Oklahoma. We're not expecting widespread any more severe weather tonight, but we are expecting more thunderstorms tonight. And unfortunately, that will cause additional flash flooding issues. In fact, you can see west of Fort Smith some of this stuff regenerating here and then lifting north. Now, this isn't going to be severe, but it is going to be moving over places like Fayetteville, Bentonville, and Rogers. Remember that little spin we saw earlier? It's right in here. This is what's going to eventually pull everything out, but it's going to still be another 2 hours or so before things start to improve and move on out of the area. And go back to a wide view here. The line of damaging winds is stretching from just southeast of Branson, moving towards Conway now. It exited Scott County. It's out of Logan County as well. Heavy rain's the big story into the overnight. So when it's safe to do so, you can share pictures where you live. Probably won't be safe to do it until tomorrow when this rain stops and all the lightning moves out. You can submit those to us on the 5 News app using the Near Me feature. And then coming up tomorrow morning, starting bright and early at 4:30, meteorologist Tyler Moore will be in. He's going to have more images like this from Dusty King in the Van Buren area. You can see this tree that was pulled down. We've had trees down all over. Is there another one you had too,
There's
Michelle?
one more, yes.
Okay.
It's on a house.
Another one on a house. These trees on homes can also be deadly once it goes through. If you've got a big tree out there, boy, those things can come down really, really quick. Lonnie sent this picture in to us as well. So tomorrow morning, we'll be bringing you more images from where you live. I'll also have updates on power outages. I know many of you are eager to know when the lights are going to come back on. As soon as we know that, we'll bring that to you. I suspect it's going to be 24 to 48 hours for many of us, if not longer, simply due to how extensive the damage is across the area. The good news is the severe weather threat is coming to a close. The flash flooding threat, it's going to stay up for us, though, through at least 2 or 3 in the morning. Hopefully everything's gone by drive time tomorrow, but if there are still flooding problems in the morning, we'll have the latest. Meteorologist Tyler Moore will bring that to you live as you start your day off with 5 News tomorrow morning. And, of course, more team coverage throughout the day tomorrow as these winds have affected a great portion of all of you in the River Valley, and we'll be bringing you updates on that. It's been a long night here for you. Hopefully you and your family are safe from these storms. We'll keep you updated and bring you any additional information through the overnight hours should any more severe weather break out. You've been watching extended coverage here on 5 News. Thanks for trusting us with your news and weather coverage. We'll be monitoring it through the overnight.